realize how much I must have sucked as a kid never to actually get through most of the levels on that game because it's not a difficult game, even if you go down the hard path.
And we're
But
live.
like, I never did it at the time, so I must have been a really, really shit 5-year-old gamer.
Yeah, I never had an N64 when I was younger. I was a PlayStation and PC guy at that time, but I did actually recently play through all of Star Fox 64 on like a speed run stream where it was
Ooh,
like three of us playing it. I came in last, but I got through
Mhm.
it all.
I remember you talking about that.
And, but we were playing the one that I'm about to share here. So
Also,
it's small
what did
enough that I
YouTube
just
do?
zipped it up and uploaded it to my Google Drive in that span of time. But there it
Yeah,
is.
Why
Native
is
thank
PC
you.
port.
why
Scale it up to
is
120 FPS if you want.
so I don't know why YouTube did this, but now my chat just has all the ads as names and not like the normal names. So now
I
James'
saw
name
something
is
about that they
ads like Cooper
changed it.
Jr., which is really confusing to me.
Someone was complaining about this the other day, and I can't remember who it was. But yeah, I guess YouTube has just changed. YouTube likes making changes that make the platform worse.
Yeah. Uh,
I mean, that's the way you make it better, right? You gotta make it worse.
and shitification, let's go. Yeah, this is gonna be confusing because there's probably people in there that I won't recognize because the name is
Hey,
just different.
second one's Ocarina of Time. I already had that one
Ah, thank you.
uploaded. Actually, that one's probably bigger because it's got a 4K texture pack.
Damn. Well, I'm definitely playing that.
It's
Yeah.
YouTube's fault, of course. It always is. It always is. What is this movie I've never heard of? Schleems. It might have some schleems somewhere on the floor. It's a pretty nasty bar in the middle of nowhere where they're in. So
Oh,
that's
are we live? Or are you talking to the chat?
we are live. We are
Oh,
live.
hello.
I just did the cold open while you were talking, and I just did it. I just did it. So yeah, here we are. We lost the rags along the way because he got home later as
Poor
planned.
doggo.
So we lost him along the way, but he will return in the future, I'm sure. So
I
no.
think he left because he knew he'd have to defend the actions of that horrible dog in this movie.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean the dog has a good heart. We see that at the end.
Dog redemption arc was there.
He can't help how he was raised.
Yeah. Oh god. So yeah. It is Sunday. It is Forge time. It is warm. I'm feeling kind of sleepy because of it. So I'll do my best here. Because I can't run my AC while I'm streaming because it's one of those that is just standing there and it's very loud. So that's not gonna make for a good stream. So I'm not doing
I
that.
don't
Man.
have AC, and I actually, funnily enough, just before I came upstairs, I was sitting down there thinking, fuck, I mean, this is just horrible. I ordered an
Mm-hmm.
AC unit. I've caved to the Americans who insist that it's really worth it, and
Yeah.
now I
Yeah, it
feel
is.
like I'm not a patriotic English person anymore. But I then moved to my backup set because I got like a portable streaming work thing. So I'm currently as close to being in the garden as I could possibly be, and my laptop is hating it, but I'm enjoying it
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, I bought one last year because I don't know these summers are getting too hot for me. I don't like it. And it's like one I just can just move around. The water goes in just like a bucket, and I had to build like a frame out of styrofoam that I can just squeeze into my into my window.
Mhm.
So it's kinda sealed, but it works beautifully. It's quite nice. So yeah, I'll probably pop that back on when we're done here, because it's gonna get like 5-6 degrees more warm the next couple of days. So
Oh,
very excited for that. It's gonna be like 37 Celsius, which I don't know, for America that's probably like winter times. I don't know. Uh,
Well, I mean, no Americans on this stream right now, but it
yeah,
depends on where you are in America.
uh,
Oh, well, no, I guess if it's Fahrenheit and Celsius, they all use Fahrenheit. But
mm,
yeah, 37 it was up to about that last week here, so I don't know if the sun's just moving over towards Europe now, but it was in Canada last week.
yeah. So what was this? 37 Celsius Fahrenheit. Was that like 7,000 football fields or whatever? Uh, it's 98 degrees. That sounds so much worse. I'm never gonna look
Sounds
that
like a
up
boy
ever
band.
again. topless metal
That's
streams incoming. Nah, I got too much flabby stuff on me for that still. That's not happening.
the standard heat of the human body.
Oh god. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh god. My blue gives me personality. Sorry, chat. Yeah, I mean, I can still know who it is from the blue people in the chatteroonies. This point, little Platoon has been on every show. Can't complain though. No, that's quiet. That's good. It's good. It's because he's so sexy. What?
He's a good lad.
Yeah. I mean, I asked all the EFAP boys, but they're all so busy. And Rex just doesn't like us, so he didn't show up. I mean, he couldn't make it. No, I'm just having fun because I'm going insane with this heat. I was on vacation and saw a butt-naked girl.
Well, I mean that's maybe not a shock depending on where you go.
I don't know if I can read the second part out loud already. This might be too early in the stream and gets us in trouble. I don't know.
The Grand Negus.
No, not that part. That's for later. Oh god. So,
Sorry, it was a different one.
It's all right. Hey, before we jump in, did you notice that Squid Game season 3 is out?
I didn't watch season 2 because I heard it was bad, so I was like, eh. Well, I guess to be fair, I also heard that it ends on like kind of a cliffhanger and that they were continuing it.
Well,
yeah.
So season 3 is basically part 2.
I'll watch it now. Is it like done now though, or is it like stay tuned for season 4?
It is donezo now. So they just dropped all 6 episodes at once on Netflix, and no one is talking about it. It's actually insane.
I did wonder, like, for a second, because I knew it was coming. I didn't know when it was coming. And I sat there thinking, I've got too much work to do. And then someone said, oh, by the way, yeah, all of Squid Game is out.
Yeah.
And I realized I don't care. I mean, season 2, I do think season 2 wasn't terrible. It was very obviously like being dragged out to fill 2 seasons rather than 1. There wasn't enough story for it. It did some pretty borked things, but there was enough in it that made me like, when I get time, or when we have to do it for EFAP, I will go back and rewatch it. But
yeah, that I guess was kind of my logic. I was like, well, I heard it wasn't great, and also that it's not very complete, and that it's going to be finished eventually. So I figured I'd just wait for that eventually. But I don't really feel that drive to watch it right now. Though I've been watching Hunter x Hunter, so maybe it's just I've got like 150 episode anime to get through. I don't feel like being distracted from that. I'm pretty close to the end though. I'm at like 120. So getting there.
At this point, though, I have seen Squid Game adverts for Just Eat, the food delivery thing, Squid Game adverts for Doritos, Squid Game adverts on bottles of Johnny Walker Black Label. Basically, I think the advertisers might have just missed the point of the show. Just a little bit missed the point of the show.
Thunderbolts missed a huge opportunity not getting Johnny Walker to be the sponsor.
I know.
Named John Walker.
Just not releasing the movie. Yeah, that's also. I watched the first episode and I was kind of like,
For Squid Game?
Yeah, season 3. I mean, I was like, okay, like no game starts there. It's just a lot of blah blah. I don't know. I just didn't feel it. I think like episode 2 is going to be the first game, which might be way better. It's probably going to be because the games have been pretty good so far, even in. I
think also the trailers for it kind of threw me off because I'm like, why is it's Jihan, right? He's the main guy. Why is Jihan in the games again? Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, I'm sure there's a reason, but I think that just the idea would be like, we've got to go back to the Squid Games again. And by the way, you're a contestant. You're no longer like the red-haired revenge guy that you were at the end of season 1. So
yeah, I mean,
granted, I thought the hair dye was stupid, but
I mean, like, I can tell you just pretty spoiler-free. It's just like he wants to stop the games because he thinks they're cruel, and that's what he's trying to do.
So therefore, become a contestant again? Like,
yeah, he basically is like, hey, I'm gonna tell everybody what's going on. And yeah, it doesn't go super well because they don't believe him at first, and obviously the games are different. So,
well, I mean, maybe if you finish it and then tell me it's worth watching, I'll watch it. But I guess I'm just like I was kind of just good after season 1 for Squid Game. I was like, yeah, I like that show. I think it's good. I don't really even think it needs a second season. And that was kind of it. So yeah, no, I've never really felt the like, oh man, when's the next Squid Game gonna be out? I was like, I don't know. Like I think that story told what it needed to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't feeling it after the first episode. So I don't know. When I got time, I'll probably pop on another one, or if anyone
Let me
wants
know
to
if it's an
talk
Arcane
about
or an Andor.
it's probably somewhere in between because season 2 hasn't been super amazing, but still like pretty solid in a couple of parts, especially the games and some good character stuff.
Yeah, no, I guess I just meant that like
Yeah,
the
I know if it's gonna be.
show that had a really, really great season one that we're just like, oh man, like yeah, no, can't wait for another season of this. And then Arcane was like, oh wait, no, they kind of ruined almost all the things that were awesome about
Hmm.
the first season of Arcane and Andor. Then I was afraid, and I was like, oh, like season two has some stuff that's kind of even better than season one. So
Yeah.
hey,
God,
and
I
it's
need more
Star
Andor in
Wars.
my life.
Fucking like,
Holy shit, dude.
how does this happen?
I need more Andor. Please give
Need any good Star Wars ever
any
again.
good show ever. I'll take everything. I just watched Ironheart and I wanted to die.
Yeah, I don't like. Daredevil was it for me. I'm not watching MCU Disney Plus shows anymore. Like I think likewise. With Andor being the exception, Obi-Wan was that for me. Although Brooks wanted me to watch The Acolyte with him, and we had a good time clowning on it, but it was
Probably, yeah.
ridiculous. Like,
Well, that's how you watch them. They're really not enjoyable if you go in expecting a story. But if you watch them as comedy, they're the best comedy around. There aren't very many good comedy films these days, but
Yeah.
Marvel TV shows. Ironheart is a very funny show.
Ironheart is
I can-
actually
I
like
can imagine.
shocking in terms of, I don't know, messaging and themes and what she's doing. They want to get that shit out of the door as fast as possible because it's 3 more episodes next week and then it's over.
Oh, I'm surprised they didn't just drop it all at once. Usually that's what they do when they're not super confident in one of them these days. But
Yeah.
I guess like with Marvel and Star Wars, I think especially because with Star Wars in particular, like I spent essentially my whole life absolutely loving Star Wars. So every time I do watch a show, I'm kind of going in hoping, hey, maybe this one is actually going to be good. Like maybe they're going to do well with this. And Obi-Wan was the last straw for me for that amount of good faith. I'm just like, oh no. All they had to do was tell like a relatively straightforward story about Obi-Wan on Tatooine dealing with grief and like trying to figure out how to protect Luke without revealing himself to be a Jedi. And there's things you can do there that don't seem like they should be that difficult. And they just decided, well, no, let's have him go on a galactic adventure where he abandons Luke to be defenseless on Tatooine alone and then saves Leia, who doesn't really remember who he is. Like, I'm that much longer later, like 15 years later, or something like that. Like, do you forget who someone who saved your life was after 15 years and you just kind of refer to him as my father always talked about you? It's like,
it's pretty bad.
so much about it doesn't work. And it was bad in like at that too. It's not even like, well, doesn't make any sense in the stories, but at least it was really like fun. Like, no, not that either.
Nope. It's
And likewise, I went into Daredevil Born Again in pretty good faith. I've like watched the first episode. I'm like, yeah, well, you know, maybe there's something here. Maybe this is going some places. And man, like, no.
Your confidence was shattered from what I heard. So
yeah.
Good Lord.
And so now, like, when people are like, oh, well, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is coming back, I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Like, it's like, I have zero faith in Marvel. I don't care what they tell me they're doing. They fumbled Daredevil.
They fumble everything. They don't know what the fuck they're
Also,
doing.
it's such a panic move. And I fucking hate the way that pre-publicity is now responsible for all of the hype for a movie, leaving basically no hype for the movie coming from the movie itself. Like, if there was a big reveal in Avengers Doomsday, and it's like Doctor Doom has been in his mask the entire time, and at the end of that movie he takes it off and it's Robert Downey Jr. That oh fuck moment could have been really, really effective. But it's not going to be because they are desperate for hype going in. So like, hey, look, we got back the guy that you like. He's going to be the villain. No twists, no surprises, no alarms, no surprises. And then yeah, enjoy it. Just go see it for Robert Downey Jr. I'm not interested in that. If you just blew perhaps one of the biggest twists in your entire franchise, but
it's such a call for please buy our tickets when your reveal for the Avengers movie is look how many cameos we've got. Here's a 5-hour video that just pans from one chair to the next one. I was like, holy balls.
Well,
Dude.
I guess the good thing about that announcement is it was almost like a tacit admission that the last few phases of the MCU have not been good and that they know it. Because it's like, hey, just so you know, we're bringing back the Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr. is back, and now it's no longer going to be about Kang. Kang is gone. Forget about Kang. He's never coming back. And also, please come see the movie because we're sorry and we want to do better again. And yeah, I don't know that I don't know that I buy it after seeing Daredevil, because like that was another one where they're like, hey, yeah, no, like we rebooted the Daredevil show that was probably going to be pretty bad, and we brought in some interesting directors and writers who like really get Daredevil. They even talked John Bernthal into coming back because he was like he didn't like the direction of the show, so he didn't want to like be involved in it, and now he's back. And yeah, and then Daredevil Born Again was a piece of shit. So I'm like, okay, well, there's my favorite Marvel character, like MCU aside. Like I really love Daredevil. Maybe it's because like, you know, grew up as a Catholic guy hating to have to go to confession, and you know, I was like, hey, he does it because he wants to. That's cool.
Marvel.
Also, Daredevil's pretty
Isn't
badass.
it great?
Yeah, no, not anymore. It's why like I already hate that I have to go see a Marvel film. No, not this month. It's not July yet.
Not yet.
But yeah, no, this we put up the schedule in our private Discord chat for this month on Forge. We got next week we're doing party games. We're doing
I want to see if I can get
stream,
some. I should probably mention it's actually episode 150, and I forgot that is a thing. I was like, oh, could have easily done an anniversary stream.
But we'd already picked Green Room and invited people to join, so we're like, okay, well, we'll still just do Green Room this week, but maybe we'll do a gaming stream next week. Yeah. And then it's the next week is Superman.
I think so.
On the 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Superman after that, and then TBD. So maybe we'll throw a movie in there or something, and then Fantastic Four.
Yep.
That would be July.
So I'll start messaging like everyone tomorrow. It's like, yeah, play some video games.
Hooray.
But yeah, those are always fun, so that should be good times. You guys gonna do Jurassic Slop? I haven't seen any of those Jurassic movies in. Honestly, I don't even remember. I've probably seen the first two, and then I might have stopped. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
you're
that's
lucky person.
I saw the second Chris Pratt one, and then I was out. I was like, okay, well. I didn't mind Jurassic World. I didn't mind Jurassic World in the same way I didn't mind The Force Awakens, where it's just like, okay, well, this is just like Member Berries the movie, but it's Jurassic Park instead of Star Wars this time, and maybe it's going somewhere. But then the second one, I was like, well, nope. No interest in the third at that point.
Kritosis put his video out for Jurassic World, I think it was. I sent to watch it.
Minion, I think, is the most recent one.
Yeah, he's been working on it for a while. I need to go check that out.
I forget what the new one's called. I saw a trailer for it like a week ago.
Jurassic World. I keep calling it Afterbirth. Jurassic World Rebirth is what it's actually called.
No, Afterbirth is Amnesia for me. Amnesia Afterbirth, which was Rebirth.
Is it? What? Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I was about to say. I was like, isn't the Amnesia game also Rebirth?
Yeah. It's the one where you press X to baby. That was such a good game. God, that was.
Did not play that one. The only Amnesia game other than Dark Descent that I played was The Bunker, which I quite liked.
Bunker is cool. Yeah, I like that one. I do enjoy that one, and they made it highly customizable as well, so you can do all kinds of shenanigans if you want to. Maul and I actually planned to do like a challenge run like years ago when it came out, but that never transpired, obviously. Instead, we just get drunk when I'm over there and play Simpsons and Run, which the supercut came out for yesterday from our last bender. So it was quite fun.
Oh, that was a supercut. Okay, I was like, I thought because I got the notification for it. I was like, is Mahler just playing Simpsons and Run instead of doing E Factor?
No, that was from when we played it last time I was over there.
Got it.
Yeah. Has probably one of the best moments that I had during playing a video game, where I just say "fuck it, we ball" because I'm almost dead, and I was trying to do a ramp, but the game was like, "No, you're not taking the ramp," and just stops me in my tracks, and then the car explodes, and I failed the mission. You need to see it. I think people have timestamped it below. It's it's quite amazing. It's so good. It's so funny. I can't I can't do it justice by just retelling it. You have to see it. I say it so confidently, and then 2 seconds later I explode. It's perfect comedy. It's really good.
There you go. It's on the Mueller channel now, and apparently it's time-stamped. The moment, I mean.
Yeah, it's on the Mueller channel. Well. Video games, aren't they fun? We probably play again. As I say, probably. We definitely do it. It's just perfect drinking game. So it's just
yeah. Speaking of video games, I finished Onimusha Dawn of Dreams.
Ooh.
I'm still not crazy about it. I will do a second playthrough before I finalize the script segment on it for my video, but yeah, I prefer the more straightforward Onimusha games other than big sprawling epic RPG Onimusha game, because it felt pretty repetitive like for a lot of it. I eventually got a little bit better at the combat, but I still think the camera system needs work, because when you lock on target, it kind of hides the enemy behind you. And the way the combat in all the Onimusha games works is you kind of time your strike with the enemy attack in order to do like a critical strike that basically not only kills them in one hit, but gives you more experience, healing power-ups, and magic power-ups. So you're really incentivized to do like the critical strikes. And the camera is so like low angle and close to you that every time you're locked onto a target, you can't really see the enemy's animations at all. And if you unlock the camera, you can't really do the counter properly. So I'm like, well, this is a massive oversight. I was even looking for mods to see if I can get it, like the camera to change, but it seems like the only Onimusha Dawn of Dreams mods for the PCXX2 emulator version of it are HD texture packs, which granted do make the game look a lot nicer, but
I used one of those on Ocarina of Time when I last streamed it. That was actually kind of nice, having it in some nice and crisp visuals. Pretty nice. I think I talked about it before. I think that website had textures for up to 8K, which is quite funny because you have like this game that obviously came on an N64 cartridge, and then you have like 15 gigs of high resolution textures you
I mean, yeah,
put over it. This is really funny.
The textures are one of the things that makes the game files get super big. But yeah, and that one though is for the Ship of Hark and source port, basically, like the decompiled port for PC. So
nice.
Yeah, that is one I strongly recommend playing if you're an Ocarina of Time fan. It is quite good.
Nice. I actually played some more Expedition 33 finally yesterday.
Ah, there you go.
And I don't know.
Platoon, have you played that?
What was that?
Oh,
okay.
No, I have not yet. It's on my high on my list of things to do, because I know it's getting lots of very positive praise. Yeah, I just need to find the fucking time. Somehow I'm still in a position where I need to stream Gotham before I'm allowed to go and play good games.
True.
Well, Expedition 33 is short for a Japanese style role-playing game, even though it's French. Just a warning. I know you're British, so I got to warn you about French things occurring.
It has been putting me off. I'll say that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still, you're still looking at like probably 30 hours, maybe 40, depending on difficulty you choose, or how quickly you, honestly, but more so than difficulty, how quickly you you learn the parry and dodge system in it, because yeah, there's a lot of twitch reflex required for a Japanese role-playing game.
But yeah, I like it. But yeah, at the pace I'm going, I'll probably be done by 2026. Cause
aren't you already in chapter 3 though?
I am, but I spent so much time yesterday just trying to figure out where I can even go, because everything got stronger, obviously. And then I also...
Yeah, although, I mean, you, like, if you want, you can kind of just go to Lumiere and, like, finish the game.
Yeah,
like, I found I didn't really need to do a whole lot of level grinding for it. I did just to see some of the other bosses, but I found the world bosses in Act 3 are significantly more difficult than the final boss encounter.
Oh, I found so many things that just annihilated me immediately. I was like, but I was so strong in Act 2. Oh, man.
Yeah, well, I think also there's, I think it's a God, I forget what the call is. It's the Pictos. Did you put the Pictos on everyone that can exceed damage beyond 9,999?
It's funny you mentioned that, because I did that after like a couple of hours yesterday, because I was like, didn't it tell me I can do more damage now? This is unlocked for me. Obviously, that was 4 weeks ago when I had to take a break because I was busy. And then I switched some stuff around. And then I saw the picture. I was like, oh, there it is. Oops.
Yeah, I learned that by I sent it. I forget which boss fight it was, but there was a boss fight that I was stuck on for a little bit, and I finally beat it, and then sent like a little video clip of my last attack to a buddy of mine from work who was like I'd been talking about the game with because he like absolutely loves it, and he's like not equipping the I forget what the thing is called, but not having that equipped is borderline insanity. He's like, I can't believe you actually beat this boss like that. I was like, wait, I was like, what do you mean? He's like, the thing that lets you do over 9,000 damage. And I was like, oh, that's a thing you have to equip. I was just wondering, like, I thought it was a specific attack or something.
Right.
I just don't use my L very much. So I thought that it was like a my L specific skill. And yeah, so I handicapped myself quite a bit in the end game. And yeah.
Yeah, that like
Once I figured that out, it made the final boss pretty easy.
Yeah, I quadrupled my damage when I figured that out. I was like, oh, that I remember now. That's a thing. But yeah, fun stuff. I did one of the character side quests yesterday. I did the big tower, the Reacher, I think it's called, or something like that. So I did that yesterday. So still plenty of side stuff to go. But yeah, I could finish it up, but I don't wanna. I want to do the other things because I like the dialogue that happens through those.
I might go back and do a New Game Plus at some point because you cannot reload your previous save and see the other ending. I think it requires you going through the whole game again.
I see. Well, very well. But yeah, here's your recommendation on playing Expedition 33. I quite enjoyed. I think Wallace said he wanted to play it at some point as well. Let's see if he ever gets the chance to, or if he's just going to be busy forever. Which...
EFAP petition 33 coming soon.
I mean, people were saying we should have done a Forge on it, but I'm still not done with the game, and there's just too much other things. I feel like they're doing this on purpose these days. Like, I don't know why all the shows are coming out at the same time at the moment. Like, it's like 3 shows, and there's like 1 month break, and it's like, here's 7 other shows. Like, can you like spread them out, please? And not release 3 episodes at once either? That would be nice. But no. No,
I do hate it when they do that. It's very annoying, especially when you do fairly long videos. Because I'd love to be able to keep on top of it and going as it goes, which used to be possible. I feel I've not even been doing this that long, but when they do, big 3 episode drops, I know that the next few days are just going to be killer. But I've actually got an like Ironheart episode 1 premiere after this.
Yeah.
But I've decided I was going to try and do them as separate videos. Because I haven't done that for ages. And then I saw it was a 3 episode drop, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just have to do one long 2-hour one. But then I thought, no, fuck it. No, I'm going to be stubborn. I am going to do this episode by episode. It's going to be quick. God damn it. And it isn't quick at all. But,
well, that's what broke my neck for the Rings of Power coverage. Because I would have loved to like do all the things, but I got completely overwhelmed by that.
Oh, God. I mean, I still had to finish, because I'd made a promise to finish the back half of season 1, so I told was that I will finish that before season 2 starts. So I did like half of season 1 episode by episode. I think each video was like 2.5 hours. Then season 2 started, and I was already behind, and I did episode 1, and then I thought, you know what, fuck it, no, I'm just gonna stop. Screw this show. We did it on EFAP. That's enough. I don't need to go back through Rings of Power. Maybe I'll do it before season 3, but
I just couldn't keep up. I mean, I have a day job to attend to, and then I have to record, edit. So I was like, it's just not possible. I think I did 4 episodes, and it was like, oh, I'm already like 2 months behind now. Like, it's just not happening.
Now, do you guys think that would be effective if when they do like 3 episode drops, instead of making them 3 episodes, they just call them 1 episode and have it just be the runtime of that? Because then, like, at least in your head, you're compartmentalizing it as just 1 episode to cover.
It depends how it's written, because I thought that when Andor season 1 came out, I thought at the time it would have been way better had each, because it's basically 3 episode arcs anyway. That people's major complaint about Andor season 1 being that they found episode 1 and 2 boring would have been obviated if they had just released it as one sort of like almost feature length episode per arc. And that is what they did with season 2. And I do think it worked better. But it does sort of depend on how you've structured the show. It's always a good idea to have like those arcs present within it anyway, but some writers are a bit too incompetent to do that. Like Ironheart, you could release these three episodes don't have an arc in them.
No.
One of the many complaints I have about the Ironheart show. So it wouldn't really have made it any better, I don't think.
Yeah. I don't know,
I've not seen Ironheart, so I can't really speak to it. But I guess I was just I've never been a person that like covers a TV show as it's releasing, and I just kind of wonder if like psychologically, when constructing a video based on it, if it was one long episode as opposed to being three distinct shorter episodes, but
Yeah.
the objective same exact content, would that make making the video easier just because you don't feel like you have to like kind of do an intro and conclusion 3 separate times, and it's more just you're covering one
I mean, I
longer
guess
piece
you're
of content.
just in the rhythm of the editing and everything, because you then have like a big chunk of the audio done. It's like, all right, now we're just gonna cut this away and then do this and this.
There's
And
also the nice psychological thing of having that that you're only going to have to do this twice as
Yeah.
opposed to you have to go do it 6 times. There are ways to mitigate it. Obviously, I'm trying to keep these ones a lot shorter, and the episode conclusions are very brief because there isn't that much to conclude at this stage. But it is easier to structure if it's completed because then you have, like, you know where it's going, you know what the overarching argument's going to be, you know where all the payoffs are or should be but aren't, and then you can sort of write to that purpose. Whereas with like covering it as it comes out weekly, it is very much a case of, well, this has happened. And because of the way the show was written, I don't know if this was an accident or if this is going to lead somewhere, but probably bad. So I have to sort of hedge it and say, this seems to be like it's leading somewhere, but I can't conclude anything on it yet. And then, of course, when it eventually finishes, and then it wasn't a payoff at all, it was just a complete fuck up by the writers. It's like, well, that's just, I would have already known that, and my expectations wouldn't have been shattered quite so much had I just waited till the whole thing came out.
Yeah.
I mean, I
That
didn't
makes
even
sense.
plan to do anything with Ironheart. I forgot it came out, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll just watch those now while I have food. And then I just talked about it on my stream. I was like, well, that's like 50 minutes. I can cut this into a rando rant now. So here we are. And then I ended up on Open Bar as well because I watched it. So yeah, I mean, now I'm gonna finish a journey. Might as well, because it's probably gonna be funny.
Yeah, that's sort of where I was at with Last of Us Season 2. I was like, well, I don't like this, but I guess I also know enough about Last of Us and that like the story that it's adapting that I kind of just want to see it through, even though I think it's mostly shit. I even think the source material shit for Season 2 though, so
Yes.
I don't really know why I did that, especially because we weren't covering it for Forge, but morbid curiosity, I guess, on that one.
Yeah.
It's funny, I couldn't tell you anything about what happened in Last of Us Season 2, except like a couple of meme moments, and that's it. I know Joel dies. Spoilers for anyone who is late to the game. I'm pregnant. I'm going to be a dad.
I'm
That's
gonna be
quite
dead,
funny.
yeah.
And then just
That was not in the game,
long,
by the way.
long walking periods where they talk about nothing, and then entire guitar covers which serve no narrative purpose.
So both of
That's
those
kind of
last
it.
2 points do happen in the game. There's a
Oh,
lot of
good.
walking around doing nothing, and there's guitar covers.
Yeah, the difference is while you do the walking around doing nothing, there's also no one else there, so you don't even talk to anyone a lot of times. So you just go around and loot these places. It's very interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess in the like honestly, I found those segments more enjoyable. But in Last of Us 2 in particular, there's a lot of scenes that are kind of just like the Left Behind DLC, where it's just I'm walking around talking to a character with like I guess decently acted dialogue, but nothing they're saying is particularly interesting.
Yeah.
And then I press X to interact with an object that they talk about for a minute until I walk forward some more and press X to interact with an object that progresses the story and starts the next actual cinematic. And that happens in that game a lot.
Yep.
Like to the point that I was like, okay, come on, are we doing it now? I got to walk around the aquarium and look at shit.
Yeah. But then you get to shoot the bow and get the highest score. Wow. They made lesbians boring, the true crime.
They keep doing that. I don't know how they manage it, but like when The Acolyte did it, obviously, Last of Us did it. I'm sure there've been other things as well, which is you look at this is the easiest way to get men's attention,
Yeah.
and you're somehow fucking it up. How are you doing this?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Lesbian content peaked with the 1998 thriller Wild Things, if you ask me. Yeah, Denise Richards and Nev Campbell. How do you go up from there?
Acolyte Pain. It was pretty bad. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Put it on a pile.
That's the last one I tried to cover episode by episode, and I ended up smoking my way through it. And I'd quit years ago, and I thought,
Oh,
God.
Actually,
No,
I watched
back
all
to
of
cigarettes.
your Acolyte videos, and I found them hilarious. I think you did a really good job on those.
Thank you. It was nice when it was done. While I was doing it, it was just the anger and the cigarettes keeping me going.
Anger and the cigarettes. Oh, that's commitment right there. Good lord. So yeah, now I have 5 episodes of Squid Game to watch still, and there's gonna be 3 more episodes of fucking Ironheart this week, or well, next week. It's still Sunday. You know what I mean. I'm gonna watch that. I don't know when I'm gonna do all this shit. That's just. And I think I have a stream scheduled with Kree and the other ones to play more Left 4 Dead. Why am I could just not do this and just could like chill.
Yeah.
I don't know what I thought when I started doing this shenanigans, but now that's good. That's good.
Or do what I've been doing. Cross things off your anime bucket list. There's just all of a sudden 150 episode series that you have to watch that are in general pretty good.
I mean, I'm a fan of Hunter x Hunter. I think it's rather good.
Yeah,
been a
I'm
while
in
since
the
I've watched it, but I
Chimera
remember.
Ant arc. Okay, is it me or is the Chimera Ant Ing basically Chimera Ant King basically just Cell from Dragon Ball?
Yeah, there's a big resemblance. I feel like too.
I think he's kind of more interesting though. I've kind of gotten through the part where he's like playing Gungi, I think is the name of the game. It's kind of like a Japanese chess type game with that master girl that's blind.
Right. Yeah.
Decent character though. I guess like it would take me far too long to explain to the chat what happens in this show because that's like 100 episodes in. But yeah, there's a villain who seems like he should just be monstrous insectoid murderer guy that ends up having a little bit more to him. And I don't know quite how it's going to pan out.
Meruem is Cell with actual character development. Yeah, you could say that.
Her tail even looks almost exactly the same.
Mutla returned.
Oh,
from
I
a
guess his
holiday
face
to
kind of
Italy.
looks like Frieza. Like I feel like whoever the writer of Hunter x Hunter is must have quite liked Dragon Ball Z.
Our car broke down and the French weren't helping. The Germans got it running in 3 hours. Yeah, I heard we're pretty good with like the engineering stuff. So there you go. I'm pro Germany now. Be careful with that.
His name. I guess I haven't learned his name yet. He did have a moment where he was like, "Wait, why don't I have a name?" But I don't think he got one in that scene.
Meruem. Not Kevin Feige said that in chat just now. I wouldn't have remembered my.
Well, keep Kevin Feige away from Hunter x Hunter. He'll fuck it up.
Well, luckily this is not Kevin Feige, so he makes good stuff.
Yeah. Actually, I forget
guess.
who the director of this is, but I've been told he has 2 other films that are similar in tone that I've not seen. One is called Blue Ruin, so also 2-word title with a color.
With a color.
Color and an R word.
Too late already in talks. Damn it.
Yeah, already in talks, yeah. Well, I mean, if Adi Shankar gets Berserk, then my life is pointless anyway, so whatever. It's like, adapt. Although,
the second
I
you
tweeted,
said that, he wrote, and Eddie Shankar is going to direct it.
Yeah, but Taika Waititi is no longer making an Akira film, so there's that.
I wish he wouldn't do anything anymore. He's fucked it.
So, yeah, the second I heard that he's doing a live action Akira, I was like, why? Why would they give that to him? What about Taika Waititi's work would make anyone think, yeah, this guy's definitely the one to make the futuristic Japanese cyberpunk body horror movie? Like nailed it. It's like, what has he done that made you think that?
I don't know, man. Patrick Stewart's still acting. Oh my! I mean, he's going to be acting in like the Avengers thing. The movie we're talking about here in a second is
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
It's a decade old.
You can
Although,
tell.
I mean, like, I guess
I feel like he aged quite a bit in these 10 years, didn't he?
Yeah,
I mean,
like
at least
I was
he
gonna
can
say,
still walk in this
Yeah.
film, which is something. Whereas now, like, if you get him out of his chair, he's grumpy.
yeah, like this seems like it was probably the last era of like the Patrick Stewart, who's old man Patrick Stewart, but not like geriatric Patrick Stewart, if that makes sense. Like he's still definitely old, but he's old in a way that like you can still be intimidated by him.
Yeah, he
Right.
doesn't look frail. Although his voice is gone, I think even by this period, it's not. It's lost so much of its force, and it is
Mhm.
so croaky, and it doesn't help that I can't figure out what fucking accent he's trying to do in any scene in this film. But the voice in particular is a bit sort of, yeah. I'm Patrick Stewart now. This is
Hello,
how I sound.
my
Yeah, I think he's just kind of
backwards.
stock American accent at this point in this movie.
Patrick
I
Stewart.
don't
Was
think
it
he's
though?
really.
It didn't sound
I
American at all. It's like there were bits of it when I thought, oh, that is American. And then for most of it, it's like, well, I think it doesn't sound American. He sounds like a drunk English person, which I guess most Americans sound like anyway, but like not in a good way.
Well, I think that's what I was gonna say is that like he's going for stock American for most of it, and for the most part, I'd say he does it. But there are just a few moments and words where it's like, okay, he sounded like Captain Picard there. You could see a bit of the Brit slipping in.
A little bit of the bread. Oh well. I think that was enough preamble. I say that
Yeah,
because I just
yeah, we're
can't think of
kind of
anything else to
talking
talk
about the
about
movie
right
now.
now, so and if we have
Yeah,
something, we tangent out to do it anyway, because that's just what we like to do.
well, I mean, here we kind of tangented in because now
Yeah,
we're talking about Patrick Stewart and his performance in this film, Green Room, that
because we're
2015
professionals.
thriller that we're
Yeah, it
talking
wasn't a
about
tangent.
today.
The whole thing was just one long segue. That's how good at this we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, Green Room is what this one is called. A good old A24 production, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's
They,
it's just like the Thunderbolts. It's an A24 film.
yeah, I feel 10 years ago they were like, were they already like popular? Not as popular as
They
today. I feel like
I
every
think
second movie that comes
they
out
were
every
sort
month
of
is an A24 movie right now, but
well, I think this is the era where they were really kind of heating up because wasn't Hereditary also A24 or am I making that up? Because I think this was around the time that like Hereditary came out, and then Midsummer wasn't that far behind it, and those kind of like indie sort of darker horror movies that kind of had more, for lack of a better way of putting it, like artistic flair to them than say a Bloomhouse horror movie. Were doing pretty well. And then I think the one that probably really put them on the map though was Everything Everywhere All at Once because it won Best Picture.
right, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, A24. Also, 90-minute runtime. Every time I see that number attached to a movie, I get a little
Yeah.
chubby because I don't have to, watch a 7-hour movie.
Yeah. Is this going to be a movie that doesn't waste a whole shitload of time? I think it is.
So yeah, I'm always happy when there's not enough 90-minute movies these days. I feel like everyone needs to do like 2 hours, and I say it every time. It just gets on my nerve. It's like, oh look, another 2 hour, 2.5 hour movie. Ooh. Ugh. Anyway, this is 90 minutes, so even if I would watch something horrifically bad, I wouldn't be too upset. But yeah, there we go. In any case, we start with something I find a bit. First thing that happens here, I found a bit weird. So one of the guys wakes up, and we're following around a punk rock band called what was it? Ain't Rights, right?
Ain't right.
Because I think they fuck up the name later on
Yeah.
when they
So,
have the band,
the
the concert. Yeah.
well, isn't it that there's like on the signage for one of their shows it says the aren't rights?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then he makes a joke about that at the main show of the film where he's like, "We're the ain't rights or the aren't rights, either way."
yeah. So they all wake up in the van, but they're inside a cornfield. Apparently, the driver fell asleep and crashed into it, and nobody noticed. I found that a bit odd to start of the movie with. Maybe they were
I
all
guess I mean
pissed
it
off
makes a little
drunk or
bit of
something.
sense if he passed out and just slipped off the gas pedal and it went into a cornfield, so it's not like not like a deacceleration impact where they hit like a concrete barrier or something. And then the car slowed to a stop, obviously, because it's being not only slowed down by the resistance of the corn, but if there's no gas on the pedal. And yeah, then they just stopped and they were all asleep, so they stayed asleep until morning as the engine was running.
And it kind of, implies that they are all absolutely exhausted because they spend all of their time living right on the edge, which is like basically the entire first third of the movie is kind of to establish that about them. It does it pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah,
I just thought
they are
someone would
very
wake
much
up.
starving artist types.
Oh yeah, we're capturing the indie musician punk rock style, I guess, quite well.
Yeah, well, and they're on, well, not exactly a podcast, but they do like a radio interview where you get some
Yeah.
of the reasons why it's maybe harder. They make it harder on themselves than it even needs to be because they're that punk rock.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, because the engine was running the whole time, they're out of fuel, and they have a little bicycle, and they go to the next what was it, like a hockey stadium or place, to just get some gas from other people's cars, siphon it out.
And this is important. Like them siphoning gas and it being established here is actually like kind of critical for the movie. So yeah, I noticed on like my second watch, because I was mentioning earlier, I watched it twice this week just to make sure I could pick up those little details. Things like them establishing that, like, okay, they habitually siphon gas to get to where they're going is like, might just be a little character thing. It's like, oh yeah, they're that punk rock, they're that starving artist, but it's kind of critical to the villain's plan, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, like later on in the film.
Because they find the siphon thing. It's just...
Yeah, we will get there, but I'm just saying that's one of those things that it's like, oh well, I mean, yeah, they're that poor, they're that punk rock, they get to where they're going by like the seat of their pants. Like they're, as Platoon was saying, they're really living on the edge, and not even paycheck to paycheck, but like gig money to gig money. And the first gig they do in this movie, they make about $7 a person.
Yeah. But yeah, they have contact phone with what's the guy called? It's another punk guy.
Tad.
Oh, Tad, right? Yeah. For some reason, I thought Sam. I don't know. Oh, Sam is
Sam is the guitar player, the girl.
The guitar player. Yeah, right. Yeah, because
he's
he also
maybe
lets
from
them,
Arrested Development.
He lets them crash in his place while he's at work. And it's like, yeah, just crash wherever. I'll be joining you for breakfast. So he's just kind of going out. He puts some ramen on the counters so they can have some food. And they basically just put on some music and drink through the night.
Oh, wait, I have another foreshadowing for earlier. Not Kevin Feige says, what kind of superhero is this movie about? It's a prequel to the 4 films. It's about Odin himself.
Hey.
We'll get there.
Yeah, and then you already talked about the radio / podcast thing they record. And he also learns, like, yeah, the thing we had lined up doesn't really work out that well because the last show kind of went tits up. A lot of feces and vomit, I think he said.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think it's just like he was the promoter of a show, and I guess he had a show that he was going to promote for them, but the venue basically took away his license because I guess he wasn't great about stopping people from drinking too much, and there was a lot of vomit involved. Prior to that, though, during the interview, we do get some pretty good stuff about like who they are and like what their motivations are, and then like one of the kind of setups for a running thing about the desert island bands later. But the things to note that might seem like their character, but again, they actually are kind of important to this movie's plot, not just being ridiculous, because the Ain't Rights are intentionally not on social media. They don't have their music on, like, I don't even know if Spotify was really a thing at this point, but they basically only release their albums on like 7-inch vinyls, like their demos that they sell at shows, and they have no social media at all and don't promote any show they do, really. So it's like they're trying to be as old school as they can with everything, because the way they see it, their music is like, it's a temporary experience where you're at the show and you're there for it while it's happening, but then after it's over, it's gone, and you just have to come out to the next show again. And if you want to listen to the music, you got to listen to it on an analog medium.
Because Anton Yelchin's character, I probably will I don't think I think I've already forgotten all of the actual
Pat.
character names. We'll go. It's too hard. I've already forgotten what you just said. It's not going to work. Anton Yelchin's character gives like because they're giving all this interview and he's the one who exposits that, and it's interesting because as you say, most of these beats they aren't just character establishment. They are also setting up something which is useful, very useful in many cases to the plot. One of the things that sort of I felt going all the way through the film is actually the character stuff is layered on top almost. It's almost unnecessarily so because it never the actual character beats you establish are not ever really that important to the film, but what is being established as they're relating the character beat is important to the film. So the mechanical
Yeah.
stuff, some little piece you're lying around, which will come back later. The character beat is kind of all expressed through this constant recurring question of the desert island disc, and what you learn about them in the beginning is that they are desperately searching for authenticity. And then over time, as you go through, when the question comes back, you sort of get the sense that the search for authenticity is itself inauthentic. So whenever they're asked what their favorite band is, they have to think really carefully about what they think the correct answer is.
Yeah.
It's only toward the end, in a moment of stress, where they give the honest answer for each of them, which is actually something quite low and mainstream. And then right at the end of the film, it's like there's a question like, I finally figured out what my favorite band was. I don't care, and that's it. Which is kind of what the relevance of character is to the movie. It's nice to have. It just doesn't really blend in essentially, I don't think. You could probably change the answers to all of those questions and the film would work just as well.
Yeah, a lot of it was funny though that like I mean I guess we'll get to that scene a little bit later on, but they all say like sort of hardcore punk bands when they're asked the question during the podcast, and then I guess one of them admits that it was Simon and Garfunkel. The other guy's like Prince. I was like, yeah, Prince. Right on. Well, like that's still a good choice. I think Prince would be a good desert island artist, formerly known as Prince, and then again known as Prince, and then formerly because he's dead now. Rest in peace.
Yeah. But yeah, they tell us like, oh, that's fucked because we drove like 100 miles extra just to get here. So you need to give us I think they call it a kill fee. So basically, like, hey, you need to pay us for showing up at least.
Cancellation fee.
And he's like, no worries, I got a backup lined up. You get a lunch, 50% at the door, and you'll headline. Sounds pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Problem is that gig is in a diner of sorts.
Yeah, it's at like a breakfast diner.
Yeah.
And most of the people who are there, which kind of makes you think like the 50% of the door is like, wait, hold on, was this restaurant charging a cover because there was like a band playing at like what seems like 11 a.m. this.
Yeah,
and most of the people there are just like old people who are just there to get some bacon and eggs.
Yeah, like the music is wildly inappropriate for the setting and no one's there for it, so no one's really listening. It's kind of you are just shouting at people who want you to go away. I used to be in a band in London, and like the number of times this kind of thing happens, I liked this part of the movie just because it reminded me of all the shit that actually does happen if you're sort of like small touring band, because we did pretty well in the sense that we usually got quite a lot of people come in, and we ended up sort of going to some larger of the small venues in London.
Right.
But the number of times you turn up to this bar somewhere random, go downstairs, and like at more than once, the only audience for one of the bands was us, and we were playing after, which is the only reason we were there. So it's like we stayed around for them, or we got there early for them, because like otherwise you are literally playing to an empty room, except maybe the sound mixer, who on that day hadn't turned up. So it's very fun.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, do the thing, and it's like, oh wow, that made us like $8 per person. That's awesome. But the promoter and pretty cool. He's like, I gave you my cut as well, even though it wasn't that much. It's like,
yeah, and he's kind of like, I can't do anything about the venue's cut because, like, I mean, they're keeping that, like, even though it's like, I guess the venue wanted their extra $30 for, I guess, mitigating the business they lost having the punk band at the breakfast diner. But yeah, like he is trying to be pretty cool about it, and then we also do learn another thing about one of the characters because the drummer gets pissed and like slams the guy up against the wall, and then one of them says, "Easy there, jujitsu."
Yeah.
And they're not just joking. Like this guy does jujitsu. Like it's a character trait of his that will kind of become relevant later on in the movie. And yeah, so it's another just little thing that it's like, yeah, there's a little establishment there in a way that's kind of organic because It's not like they said, oh, like, I've got a jujitsu tournament to get back to. That's why we got to get back to DC. It's like, no, he had a situation where he was angry and his reaction was physical violence. And then they calmed him down by being like, hey, yeah, like you're not in a tournament right now. Stop doing martial arts on this person.
It does sound like such a simple thing, but so many modern films doing the same thing wouldn't have had this beat. Would have
Yeah.
had him do jujitsu, and then in the moment when someone says, "Where did you learn that?" he'd have made some kind of quip about knowing kung fu.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
so many films just try and put this stuff in after the fact, where it's really simple to do. You just like have a scene like this, which establishes a character skill, which you know you're going to use later, and it just you don't notice it at the time until after you've seen where it becomes relevant. Then you can think back to the scene and think, oh, I quite like how they constructed that, as opposed to stop trying to excuse your complete failure to set stuff up by doing lame jokes.
Yeah, it's like they don't even want to use a memory store in their movies.
Yeah, no, it's like the memory store
God.
was established as a airtight use for exposition long ago in the legendary film Multiverse of Madness.
Ugh.
Yet some of these writers still show and not tell. It's stupid.
Stinky movie. So he then tells him that, hey, I talked to my cousin. I got you a solid gig. And he's just like, what? Where? He's like, well, as soon as that, you have to dip down closer to somewhere else.
Portland, yeah.
Portland. But yeah, it's a gig. They were almost about to cancel like their tour, as they call it. So yeah, so I got the new thing. It's like, yeah, texted you the address, and you'll get $350. I just saw in the subtitles here. So there you go. Got some.
Yeah, and is it here that he kind of implies that it is a wait, are we allowed to say not that N word, the bad guys in World War II N word? Like, what's YouTube's rules on that stuff now? Because actually, this movie's going to be pretty hard to talk about if we can't.
I'm just going to say Nazi
I'm
right
sure
now.
you
I don't
can.
give a shit if they won't let me
Okay,
say
yeah, so,
Nazi. You
like,
want to
I don't know
demonetize
if
this?
they-
Fucking go ahead. I'm not going to not say Nazi. Fuck you.
Like Metal has an N-word pass. It's great.
I'm from there.
Yeah,
I have the German N-word pass.
Well, these are the American Nazis, the neo-Nazis, skinheads, not the British kind of like skinheads who like reggae. It's the the racist American punk skinheads.
But yeah, he's like, yeah, what's the clientele there? And he's like, skins. And then they say like DMS sharp. I don't even know what these are. I've never heard of those personally. That's probably like a
Well, it
America
says
thing.
boots and braces types, which I'm guessing the boots kind of is a reference to the red lace boots that they end up getting. Which I actually remember the first time I saw this movie, I was like, oh shit, because I had a pair of running shoes, black running shoes, that the laces broke, and I thought that it would be cool to have red laces for them. And then I saw this movie, I was like, oh wait, I hope I wasn't dog whistling. Because
I said one of these things. It was like, hey, red and black, that just looks nice together. And then you learn about this, like, oh, that's not what I mean.
yeah, red and black is my favorite color scheme for pretty much anything.
Oh god, but yeah, the good old Tad says, yeah, right wing or technically ultra left, but they're not affiliated. Also, at this point in the movie, or while I was starting to watch, it's like, oh, is this just going to be like a weird left versus right kind of dealio, which is not really where we're going. Like, it doesn't even have anything to do with political affiliation. What happens?
Yeah,
it's more of them being there. But yeah, he's like, oh, there's skins on every show, so probably want to play some of your older, heavier stuff, and you'll be fine. Also, probably you shouldn't talk about like politics, basically.
Yeah, they don't talk about politics was in reference to with his cousin. He's like, yeah, no, like my cousin, like he's pretty cool. And he's like, but yeah, maybe don't talk about politics. And then yeah, you're right. He says like will they like any of our music? And he's like, play your older stuff, heavier stuff.
Yeah.
Which they mostly do, but they do open with a cover that we'll get to soon.
Yeah, I like how he's like, can I still run the interview? Like, are we cool? And they're like, yeah, it's fine. And even the martial arts guy says, oh yeah, sorry, I almost obliterated you.
Yeah.
It's a funny way to say it.
Yeah, like I mean, all told, like Ted he's being really good to them. Like
Oh yeah.
he did kind of fuck up and waste their time to a degree, but it's also like he kind of is doing everything he can to make it right.
And it
And
also
yeah,
establishes that, like, as hard as they might present themselves as being and as dedicated to like punk as a genre as they might show themselves to be, they're actually kind of nice enough normal people. They're
Yeah.
eccentric, but
Mhm.
when it actually comes to like doing violence or anything like that, they will apologize if they did it. They're not naturally inclined toward that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have a nice little fart joke in here where the guy just starts, so there's something I have to tell you. I never told you or anything for that. And he's like, what? And he just farts and everybody laughs. And you know what? I can
Yeah, and
appreciate
that
a nice little fart joke here and there. You know what? Fine with
I think that's also probably the most overt humor in the movie because this movie is actually like loaded with almost like British like dry humor that happens quite a bit through it. But that's kind of the most out and out joke.
Mhm. What happens in the fringy room? Oh, you'll learn soon. All kinds of shenanigans happen in the
Mario
fringy
Kart, I
room.
guess.
Oh, true. Yeah, it's always Mario Kart. But yeah,
I guess I wonder if Fringy got a Switch too. Is he playing the
he
Mario
does. He
Kart
already
World?
streamed the game
Ah, okay.
on
Does he
Twitch.
like it?
I don't know. He streamed it twice, I think. He streams in these Australia times, so I'm mostly in bed when he does. I try to go and say
Well, I
hello
mean
when I
that's
can, but
understandable.
he's
That world keeps rotating in mysterious ways.
yeah. Fringy dabs alongside new Donkey Kong. Nice. Yeah, they
Yeah,
just
new Donkey Kong looks all right. I don't want to spend triple digits on it though.
what?
That's going to be a running trend with Nintendo
What are
Switch
you
2
like
titles for me. I
poor
think.
or something? God.
It's just like, man, I don't want to spend that much
I
on a
know.
video game. Like and I mean, I'm a person who really loves video games. Like it's kind of I mean, I guess these days I suppose I do more like movie analysis because the show is most of what I do on the internet, but video games are kind of the reason I started doing YouTube stuff to begin with. But man, $105 before tax in my country is nuts for a new release game. Like I think it's actually insane.
So much money.
Yeah. I'll probably do it for Metroid Prime 4. Hell, I'm playing Metroid Prime Remaster on Ryujinx right now, actually, but I'm not going to be happy about it and definitely not going to defend it. Like, even if I love Metroid Prime 4, you will never catch me saying, yeah, it was worth the extra money. It's like, no, fuck you. It's too expensive. I know Metroid Prime 4 didn't cost you that much to make. It like you're not doing the Sony, oh my god, we had to spend $500 million rendering their pores on their face and stuff.
But what if they give you an open world with nothing to do in it? That surely
Well, I mean,
justifies the extra
that's
cost.
kind of honestly like the only reason I have Mario Kart World is because it came with the Switch 2 bundle that I was able to get. But even then, I've played one circuit and fiddled around in the open world for about 20 minutes and found it incredibly dull. So I'm hoping that Metroid Prime 4 doesn't end up being like that. But
Yeah.
you know, I guess I don't know too much about it yet, other than Silux is
I
going to
guess
be the villain.
we can compare our experiences from the normal Switch and the Switch 2 then. How
Yeah, I mean, I do still have a normal Switch. I have although now I'm worried about using it because it's a jailbroken one, and I was like, is Nintendo's new EULA going to make it so that if I use if I use my jailbroken Switch online at all ever, they're just going to be like, oh yeah, now all of your Nintendo consoles is destroyed.
now you have a brick from Nintendo.
Well, I'm playing Metroid Prime Remastered in 4K on the Ryujinx emulator right now, so fuck you, Nintendo.
Nice. Uh,
I do
so-
own the game though.
oh, pardon me. They arrive at their destination, and it's kind of out in the wild. It's definitely not in a city or really that close to any kind of civilization. It's gated a little bit as well. There's a little sign there.
Yeah, it's in the middle of like the Oregon woods. You're a base camp in Days Gone. Like,
so yeah, there's a whole bunch of people there. They're gonna have their little concert there, and seems all fairly normal-ish. I mean, lots of skinheads.
a lot of
and-
shaved heads, but yeah, other
and-
than that, it's like an old mill that's been converted
Yeah.
into something of a party venue.
let's see. I guess they just go in, right? I mean,
Well, no, so right when they get there, Daniel, who is Tad's cousin. Oh, sorry, I guess we did miss a thing. So that's again one of the
oh
little
yeah,
details I
go
noticed.
ahead.
So as they're leaving Tad, like in I guess like somewhere near Seattle, I suppose, or like it's a bigger city wherever they are. And he says he's like, yeah, he's like, so I would come with you guys, but my cousin's coming over with his girlfriend, so I got to vacuum and shit. And that
Mm.
seems like a little throwaway line. But the fact that his cousin Daniel, who like is a character that we'll meet in the scene we're about to talk about as they're arriving, and his girlfriend going to Tad's house is actually a pretty major plot point.
Hmm.
And like
Mm.
I did not notice it until that second viewing. I was like, oh wow, they like kind of set that up really early on. So when they get off the van, Tiger is the singer, says he's
Oh
like, hey, are you
yeah.
Daniel? He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, like Tad said you're pretty cool, and like he's getting ready for you and your girlfriend to show up. And then Daniel grabs him and is like, shut the fuck up about that.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, what? He's like, just be cool. Just don't say shit about that. And like, you just kind of think, okay, well, maybe his cousin that's kind of cool is like actually a super violent neo-Nazi guy, but he's like, spoiler alert, he's kind of not.
Yeah.
And he just really didn't want anyone who is hearing anything about him leaving with a girl, because that is not something the rest of the neo-Nazis know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like there's a little Easter egg there, or not Easter egg, I guess, a little foreshadowing point
Yeah.
that just seems like, okay, maybe Tad's cousin is actually kind of an asshole, but no, it's there's more to it.
Yeah. There's also right after you have the little sign that says "aren't rights."
Yeah.
That's just funny. But other than that, the other guy says, "Oh, you're gonna use your own kit, or you want to use the house one." It's like, "Oh, I'm gonna use my own one," and they just kind of load it in. It just says, "Yeah, you're on in 20 minutes. You can build your shit. Here's the room, the stage rest."
Yeah, it's like, and there's the kind of thing that sets up one of the sort of dry humor jokes I was referring to earlier. He says like, yeah, he's like, you can put your stuff in the green room. Don't leave it in the corridor though, because the owner is like really strict about the fire code.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that sets up a little joke later.
There's a couple of bits like that where, because it is doing so much quite genuinely good, subtle setup work, any piece of information like that, you are inclined to think, okay, that's going to be setting something important up for later. But occasionally it knows how to subvert that expectation. So it's like, that is just there for a joke, right? That doesn't
Yeah.
actually come back as any
Mhm.
kind of plot relevant thing, because it's so incongruous to look at a venue like this with the people who are there and think that the man who owns it is probably a stickler for rules and regulations. You don't really expect that to be the case. So you
Mm.
expect it to be, that'll be relevant later. But then he turns up later and no, he genuinely is. He doesn't want to fuck around with fire regulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny when he shows up. He's just like, whose stuff is this? It's like, it's theirs. He's like, huh, it's a fire hazard.
Yeah, they just kind of get ready for the thing. Just if you just look around the room, there's so much like stuff in there. There's like stickers on the wall that has like kind of
Yeah.
a swastika, but then some of them also says like oh, stupid fascists and stuff. So it seems like kind of a mixed scene in this place actually, which I find a bit interesting.
Yeah,
I think
well,
that was
I
the
guess
that was the
some
point,
of
wasn't it, earlier of the line about that they're like, right, well, they're not right, they're like technically really ultra far left. It's like it's horseshoe theory basically.
Right.
You will get
yeah.
people there who are, just because they're so extreme, they're really quite similar, but the differences just matter to them. But
Mhm.
because they are so similar, you'll find them inhabiting roughly the same spaces.
Yeah, it's gonna get fun as
Yeah,
well because when they start doing their song, because the tiger says, "I have a really dumb idea," and they do like a thing, it's like "fuck
well,
off
yeah,
Nazis" or
Pat.
something.
Yeah, it's a Dead Kennedy song called "Nazi Punks." Nazi Punks, fuck off.
Right.
Is, the
And
one that they
if
do, but
you
it's Pat's idea, and God, the joke that again maybe Bloom has before it. It's just I really loved it when he's because Pat, like Anton Yelchin's character, starts having some reservations about maybe we shouldn't do this, and she's like, "No, this was your idea. If you chicken out, I'm going to tell them you're Jewish."
Yeah, it's kind of fun
It was
because
the only thing
Go
in
ahead.
the entire movie that I almost didn't quite believe is that they got away with playing the cover song and were not assaulted because like,
They
they
got some
probably would
bottles
have
thrown
been.
at them.
I
Yeah,
think
true.
I think what kind of I guess steelmans that for me is if you look at the crowd, some of them are throwing shit at them, and while other ones are just vibing to that song. So I think it's just because
What?
of this mixed audience that it doesn't happen. Because I
I
expected them doing this is what gets them in trouble, and it's like the incident that makes the movie start. You know?
I see. I guess the way I kind of read it is that because of the scene that they're in, this is the kind of thing that is like actual punk rock move, like actual defiance of like, yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna start this show by pissing all of you off, and then we're still gonna have you end up liking our set by the end. And as they start their first song, you see a bunch of people in the crowd start like nodding their heads, like they're kind of getting into it. So I guess like part of them the audience might have just seen it as a troll, that it's like at first they were really pissed off, but then when like they kept on playing and they ended up being pretty good, they were like, okay, maybe these guys aren't so bad.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I thought that it was a bold decision for sure. But I think though it also maybe kind of establishes that while these guys are obviously like not great people because they are legitimate, not like Twitter meme neo Nazis, but like actual neo
Yeah.
Nazis. The fact that like they're not just immediately violent savages. Like they definitely like throw a bottle at them, and one guy who turns out to actually be probably the most immediately violent person who does something violent first takes a swig of his beer and then
Yeah.
like spits it at them. But other than that, it's just like, well, I mean, yeah, but we're here to see a show, whatever. Like these guys, they pissed us off immediately, but are they good? And then even that guy does give them a compliment in a way that is
Yeah.
little fucked up, but
Yeah.
you know.
You also see, like, so as I said, some of them vibing, they're forming a mosh pit. So in the end, they actually do have a good time. It seems so. They won them over. And at this point in the movie, it's like, wait, I thought this was like they're like left punks and those are Nazis. Isn't this like the whole problem that's gonna happen? Well, not at all. It doesn't have to do anything with it really. Because they finished their set, and it's like, well, there's the money, blah blah. Go get all
They
your
get paid.
shit, and they're just getting ready to leave. Everything seems a-okay, and then
Except the one band member with a phone who is
Yep.
actually charging it in the car, and that's why the battery's dead at the beginning of the movie too.
yeah, she's like, oh shit, forgot my phone. Give me 1 second, I'll be right with them. And
Yeah,
I
but
think,
Anton Yelchin goes in to get it for her, like just to kind of be a nice guy. And
yeah, he's like,
yeah,
oh
then
sorry,
he
I'm just gonna
sees a
get.
thing.
It's probably like the backstage etiquette, like, oh yeah, just you were on stage, so you can just go in there real quick. It's like, oh sorry about that, I'm just gonna grab my phone, and then he immediately sees someone has been stabbed in the face and is dead.
Yep.
He's like, oh.
There's a girl, one of the sort of, I guess like skinhead girls. They both have the same haircut. It's
Yeah.
like I don't know, a girl mullet, I guess, where it's kind of like a
girl
bob
mullet,
cut
yeah.
on top, but like party in the back. And one of them is kind of actually the reason we thought to cover this movie is the girl from 28 Weeks Later, Imogen Poots.
Right.
And she's the one who has not been stabbed in the face.
So yeah, now things are getting out of control. Because she's like, can you call the cops? And then we get Tom Segura before he lost all this weight. I'm sorry, all I could see with this guy was old Tom Segura before he went on his weight loss thing. I was like,
the joke I was gonna make was fat David Harbour, because that's sort of what I was seeing. But yeah, this is a big guy though. He's pretty huge.
Yeah. Here, Chad, I'll tell you. It's just like like he just looks like Tom Segura to me. I'm sorry. Where's there it is. There he is. That's Tom Segura from 10 years ago. You can't tell me otherwise.
Fat in a way though that he looks. Yeah, I guess it does look. Yeah, kind of like Tom Segura too. I saw David Harbour, but now that you mention it, I'm seeing it. But he's also
him from somewhere as well. Is he I want to say, was he in Parks and Recreation? He's Chris Pratt's friend, and Chris Pratt's got him the job
You
in
could
the first
maybe look
Jurassic
that
World
up.
film, and he gets eaten by the Indominus Rex. I think it's the same guy, but I
Let's
might
see.
be
I'm
making that up.
pretty sure his was it Jimmy? Is his name in it? I think. Oh, like Big Jimmy or something. Ah, God, I can't type. Sorry, I'm stretching across two puppies, or one puppy actually. The other one's coming. She's probably gonna growl. Jojo, no.
Well, while you look that up, I'll just go ahead
Yeah,
and
I'm
explain
still looking
what
as Jojo
happens.
growls. Jojo.
Because he immediately grabs the phone and calls 911. So they actually do the thing they're supposed to do right when they see someone dead on the floor. I was like, holy shit, they just do it. That's crazy.
And he definitely is in Jurassic World, Jojo.
But it's a wild scramble to just get the guy back into the room. Because we also was like, why this door wasn't even supposed to be open? This was supposed to be locked because they were doing something in there, with killing the lady, obviously. But we got the I don't know, the owner manager of this place. We're like, okay, calm down, give me the phone. Just you guys go wait back there.
Yeah, it's
I'll
the
settle
manager.
this. It's the police is on their way now. And obviously, police is the last thing they want to have here.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I think that one thing I really like about this character in particular, and most of the like enemy faction, at least in the first half of the movie, is they do a pretty good job of even convincing me, like I mean, I use me as like surrogate for like potentially the audience, unless anyone else was just seeing right through them, of keeping us on their toes, of being like, are they actually like in a situation where they're kind of trying to find like a peaceful solution to this
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
not have this blow up? And yes, the guy is also in Parks and Recreation. So yeah, little Platoon nailed it.
Knew I spotted him from somewhere. But yeah, no, you're right, because like they're not all absolutely obviously in this very one scene evil. This could be a genuine thing. You know, someone in there is probably a dick because someone did a stabbing, but
Yeah.
the establishment itself isn't necessarily not on your side yet, which is it's a nice little touch because it keeps a bit of suspense up as opposed to cluing the audience in immediately. Okay, they're in a shit situation and it's going to just be horrible from this point onwards. It still gives you that possibility that it could take you in a direction you don't expect.
Yeah, because our guys we've been following, they're kind of freaking out. It's like, hey, you can't just keep us here. It's like, no, you're just staying here. The cops are on their way. It's all good. But he also
And
says,
yeah, and as
called...
he's leaving,
Yeah.
as he's leaving the room, he like says to the 911 that called back, he's like, "Yeah, I'd like to report a stabbing,"
Yeah.
which like signals to everyone in that room that it's like, oh, okay, they got freaked out when I ran out of the room on 911 saying there's a stabbing here, and they just wanted to calm everything down, but the cops are on their way. They're just saying to stay here. And the only thing that kind of creates this looming sense of dread is Big Justin, the Parks and Recreation / Jurassic World guy, has a gun
Yeah.
and is like saying, "Yeah, we're holding you here, but also I have a gun, and that's the reason why you're not going to leave."
He also locks the door. It's also funny. The other lady was in here, just goes up to the other guy. Is like, motherfucker, just kind of starts to, I don't know, tackle him. He just kind of doesn't react to it. Just like, okay.
Well, Imogen Poots' character in this, Amber, is probably the most brave one, and that sometimes bites her in the ass, which is kind of nice, and that she's not like a girl boss, but she's probably one of the most competent survival characters in the movie. And comes
She's the
in
one who
quite handy
uses the
later.
fire extinguisher, right? Which is, I think, is probably the most effective weapon in this entire movie. At least it's the one they have like the most use of. It's a surprisingly good weapon, and because she's resourceful, it is just like you're grabbing something you would naturally expect to see. You know it's going to be there because you know the owner is actually quite keen on fire regulations, and they find a way to turn it into a makeshift weapon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. The fire extinguisher is how the fire code thing does, I guess, play into the actual procedural action of the movie. But actually, the one who first uses the fire extinguisher, like takes it off the wall, is Ali Shawkat, like Sam, maybe from Arrested Development.
Yeah.
But
guy
she's the
al-
one that she does use it though. Amber does
Hmm.
use it in the Odin himself fight.
Also, the guy I mentioned earlier says, Darcy's on his way. He knows about this on the floor, he points, but not those. So, yeah, cops are on the way. We'll figure this out. And he goes to the trailer outside, which is like just like their office, and talks to the guy there. It's like, I need $600. And he's like, you just got 350. And he's just like, someone's dead. And he's like, oh, and just gives it to him basically. But
He's like, well, I still got to do the books. So
yeah.
he's like, look, okay, that is a pretty good reason, but I mean, also, I like the reason I was like, hey, kind of questioning you at first is like, I do got to make sure that everything balances here. So.
No.
And that guy turns out to be the Hound Master, who will
Yes.
become quite important later.
Before we go back with them, guitarist lady is like, hey, maybe she's not dead. There's not even that much blood on the floor. And then the other guy was in here, just starts yanking at the fucking knife and just drags the dead lady across the floor,
Yeah.
gets the knife out, and more blood comes out. He just says, oh, see, there it is.
Yeah, and that I guess I'm unsure as to whether he intended to drag her. And this character's name is Worm. He's
that's the
the
Worm,
guy
yeah.
who he's the one who stabs Emily, and he also is the one who spit at the band as they were playing their Dead Kennedys cover. So. But yeah, I didn't know whether he was just trying to pull the knife out and the dragging happened, because I mean, yeah, the human skull, pretty solid bone. So
Yeah.
unless you're pulling that knife out at the same angle that the puncture wound is, next time you get some ribs, take out a pocket knife, because it's a pretty small knife that did the stabbing, and try to saw through it. It's not super easy to
It's
do.
not easy.
So.
Yeah. Bones are
Next
pretty
time you stab someone in the skull, give it a pull and see how easy it is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or if you try to give it a pull at an incorrect angle, and
I think
it
I got
likely would drag the
stabbing
person
set
across
up
the room.
in 2 days. I'll give it a look, see how it goes.
Yeah.
Obviously, our party is like, hey, you know what? We didn't see shit. We were so drunk. We're just gonna shut the fuck up about it. But guy with gun, like, don't worry about it. Cops are on the way. Just wait. It's all good. But we see right after they have no intentions of at least telling the cops about this stabbing that just happened, because
Yeah.
outside he found 2 true believers, and apparently they're like, hey, you're gonna get $600. Can you stab your friend and sort this out? And the guy is just like, oh yeah, it's not even the first time we had to do this. And I was like, holy shit, what kind of fucking organization are they running here?
I think though that wouldn't even be the first time. I guess what I liked about the way
Or
that
getting stabbed,
that
I
line's
guess, yeah.
constructed, yeah, it's like it didn't really necessarily indicate that's like, oh yeah, we get stabbed for the cause regularly, or just no, we've been stabbed, like we get it. It's like, this is something that it's a sensation that we're at least aware of going in,
Yeah.
and yes, we're agreeing to do it for $600. And apparently double that if they do any time, which you got to think, like, depending on how much time you end up doing, double may or may not
Yeah.
be worth it at all. Like, I mean, what if you do 5 years?
But yeah, he stabs the guy 2 or 3 times, and he says, oh, it's too short for a felony charge. You don't need to even bother about that. So yeah, we'll just give you the money when this is all done, and we got this covered.
Yeah, which
So-
again, like, I mean, I guess the stabbing itself would probably be a charge that they wouldn't be able to avoid, but
Yeah.
having it be the kind of blade that won't have the possession of the blade itself result in a crime means that if the victim decides, yeah, no, like we were arguing, like it got heated, I'm not going to press charges, then you
Yeah.
can maybe get out of the criminal charge for the stabbing. But if you're in possession of a felony weapon, which is also something that this group thinks about quite a lot, in reference to the firearm that is currently in the green room, it's yeah. Again, another
Yeah.
nice little thing that they thought of while writing this film.
So yeah, they do that, and then we get the Patrick Stewart reveal, which they do with a bald reveal, which I just found funny. So you just see the back of his head, and it's like, "Yes, ma'am, that's my establishment. Just give them some space to work." And he just takes off his little hat, and you just see the back of his head. It's like, "See, it's Patrick Stewart. He's bald."
Yeah,
It's just me. I found that funny as fuck. I don't know.
Yeah, he's one of the few guys that has a very distinct bald head.
Yeah.
That like he's had the same hairline since the 80s, and this was around the point where it's like he almost seemed to not age all that much, even though that's the last 10 years that
Yeah.
shifted.
He did sort of go on pause from the age of 50 to 70, and then
Yeah.
rapidly from 70 to 90 in about 2 years.
I think even like prior to that, because honestly, for the length of at least the first 3, even though only 2 count X-Men films, I don't remember him looking any different than he did on TNG when I was a kid. Like
No.
he's just always been like past middle-aged man age for most of my life. But yeah, no, lately though, you can clearly see that he is aging. It's
Yeah.
great actor, but he might not be with us all that much longer, sadly.
So, our establishment manager is coming back out and tells the other band, the Cowcatchers, to get their stuff and get out. And then we get the the compliment that you talked about earlier, because the one guy who stabbed the lady or was part of the stabbing is like, "Hey, your set was pretty good. Was the second to last
What was
song
the name of your second to last song?
Right.
And
Oh,
I kind of forget, like
I think
Toxic
Psycho
Evolution, I think
or
it was.
something. Toxic Evolution.
he's
Yeah,
like-
there's it on screen. Toxic Evolution, yeah.
That was pretty hard, man.
It's pretty hard.
But that, which sounds like it's like, oh, the guy's just complimenting them, and then the line gets ultra creepy because he
Yeah.
then says, "That's the one I did her to,"
Yeah.
and you're
it's
like, "Oh, fuck."
Damn.
That would get under Anton Yelchin's skin for sure, because
Mm.
he's I guess the de facto protagonist, but he's kind of a wimpy guy. He's not an ultra tough dude.
No. When will vampires arrive, Mortal? No vampires in this. All
Yeah, that's
normal
a
people.
different that's a different trapped in a bar movie. It's a more recent one.
Yeah. So now our team is starting to wonder, okay, what are we doing? And Jiu-Jitsu man is like, okay, he's got 6 bullets, and the guy on the door is like, for real? Really?
Yeah.
Is that what we're trying to do now?
And then we get another kind of dry humor.
Yeah, because
he's
he's also
like,
explain.
cartridges.
I got cartridges,
called
and it's 5
cartridges.
cylinders. I have 5 cartridges. Bullets is the thing that goes into your head.
If you keep talking shit. It's
Yeah.
like, and this gun only has 5 cartridges because they're big as fuck and only 5 fit the cylinder.
That was kind of fun, yeah.
Too bad Regs is not here because all that was pretty good gun terminology stuff.
Yeah, the ends with, so please shut the fuck up and don't test me.
It does set up their awareness of it though. This is not one of those movies where people just seem to have unlimited ammo for any gun they happen to be holding. Ammo limitations play a pretty important role in the fight and the escape that follows.
It's just an overall thing with this movie. Like all the action scenes, they're all quite short, but also very deadly and, you know, impactful. Because they take real life damage that, well, hinders them and kills them. So that's always nice to see. It's like, oh yeah, I know this actually fucks you up, and it did. Good.
Oh boy, yeah. There's some pretty severe violence at points in this movie. But I also like that things like ammo count and being able to explain things to the police in the way that they plan out to save their, I guess, organization really also help mitigate things like, why wouldn't they just do blank criticisms? Because you would be thinking that it's like, okay, if you've got a punk band who is, for a good chunk of this situation, effectively unarmed, just waiting in this green room, and all you have to do is kill them, how are these guys not just able to send in 20 guys and kill them?
Yeah.
And the movie, I think, does a good job of explaining that it's like, Yeah, well, they're not thinking of it like a movie though, where they can just sick all their goons on the protagonist and then like send wave after wave of enemies. They're like, okay, we don't want many of even our people knowing that this is happening at all.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do eventually kind of like realize our plan, we want to make sure that it's in a way that we're not going to end up being in jail because of it. Because like clearly the police here, like Patrick Stewart's character Darcy was pretty reasonable with them, but you can also tell that the cops are like, yeah, well, we're a little bit suspicious about pretty much everything that you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll soon find that that is for pretty good reason because they're up to no good and not just the racisms.
Indeed. Yeah, because now outside we see Patrick Stewart and the manager man just try to figure out, it's like, okay, how many calls to the police, who saw, who knows they're here, all that kind of stuff. Like, okay, what are we gonna do? And it's like, oh, all 80 people in the audience saw them. And Patrick was like, well, then we have to assume the whole world knows because social media is a thing, that they're here. Obviously, we know they don't really have a social media presence, so they have a bit of the benefit here that there's not going to be a big hashtag about this super punk band going around because they don't have a presence there.
Yeah.
So that's also...
And the band's name was even misspelt on the
and basically they want to try to figure a way to make it look like an accident or it's not their fault because they have no intention of letting them get out of here, pretty much. Contrary to what they try to make them believe. And it's just a nice little bit of setup here where they just try to figure out what's going on. And this is where they find the siphon that they used early on the movie. And he sees that, it's like, ooh, that's perfect. This is good. Because they basically want to stage that they trespassed, try to siphon some shit, and, stand your ground laws, all that jazz, went sideways. And this is how they all died. That's basically their plan they're trying to do.
I think also, though, what I do like about it is they never clearly state their plan to the audience, though. Yes. So it is that you just kind of have to guess what they might be planning and paying attention to the little details like, oh, okay, so clearly their plan in some way involves the gas siphon. And then you get kind of more details about what I was saying that like limits the antagonist power level when they start saying things like no guns, like do not use guns, not knives and fangs only, I think is what they say at one point, and the fangs will come into play.
Yes.
Even though technically dog fangs are called canines, but
and it shows like this is not probably the first time they've done something like this. Whereas if you do have the exposition scene where the villain speaks to other villains about what the plan is from basically square one, it gives the impression they're incompetent or that they have no experience, which they don't want to give that impression in this movie. Which means it's a really tricky balance to pull off because you need the audience to follow it enough that it makes sense. But you also don't want to be telling them what it is, like no one in the film understands what's happening. So, and I think they by and large did it. Like it all pieces together over time, as opposed to just like one exposition scene.
And it makes more sense when you get to the end of the movie and you kind of understand what their plan was. Like even if you weren't really following it too well, or like you're confused by, like, again, I think that the biggest reaction I could see people having is, why don't they just storm in with guns? Why are they not doing that? Because they do have guns, so like why not just shoot like a 1,000 rounds through the door and then just kick down the pieces and that's that, right? But there's reasons that they're not doing such.
Yeah. Well, back in the green room, they basically decide, we're just gonna run on him, otherwise they're just gonna kill us all. But before they can do that, Patrick Stewart arrives. Or no, this is the manager, I think, who talks first. Doesn't matter, they all arrive. And they say, you know what, is everyone okay? It's like, yeah, that's fine. It's like, can you give them the gun? It's like, what? And even the guy
Big Justin, yeah.
Big Justin
He's
is
just like, what? Like, hold up.
What?
Like,
They tried to run at me. Well, take out the bullets and then give them the gun. It's like, say that again? You want to give me the gun? It's like, yeah. And do
yeah,
not
he's
shoot
like,
them. It's like, okay. And
which
it's like,
you got to think, it's like, well, now, like, even again, audience kind of on their toes, thinking like, wait, hold on. So, did the plan they have just result in a way that they could let them go? Like, why are they giving them the gun? Like,
yeah.
there's elements of that can be gleaned, and I liked it.
Yeah, and the lady that was in here before, Amber, right? I remember that name correctly, hopefully. It's like they're playing a show, and they're just trying to counter-argue or counter-offer. It's like, I'm gonna get the gun with the bullets, and Jiu-Jitsu Man is blocking the door, and Justin is not happy. He's like, well, they're not letting me do anything until they get bullets for the gun and stuff like that. And they keep asking, it's like, where's the police? He's like, oh, it just takes a while out there, don't worry. And Justin asks, is Darcy here? He's like, yeah. It's like, oh, why didn't you tell me that immediately?
Yeah, and then Justin hands over the gun basically right away. He's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, if Darcy's telling me to do this, I'm listening, because he's boss man. He's the Professor X of Nazis.
Yeah. And they realize, like, okay, this is all a show. They're up to no good. And this is where they do run at him, which is better to do now because he doesn't have any bullets or a gun right now. And this is where the jiu-jitsu comes in, because he puts him in an armbar. And it's an armbar that's not very nice to be in.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. He locked it down. And also, I mean, he doesn't take him down alone either. It's
No, they all run at him.
Fighting him. So, because even then, like, Big Justin is significantly bigger than the drummer, who's actually his name I'm kind of forgetting.
Mm-hmm.
But because there's like kind of chaos going on, you can kind of buy that he was at least in a position where he could get his arm in the armbar, and then once he's there, he's sort of in a position where it's like, okay, all the pressure I'm putting on your arm now is making it feel like it's going to snap. So stop fighting back or else. And then they actually say, like, what do we do now? And he's like, well, in a tournament, I break his arm or he taps out, and then we go for burgers.
Yeah. But he's like, no, well, we'd rather wait for the police. And your Big Justin man, he's going to wait too. We'd just rather wait for the police. And he's like, understood, gentlemen. Hold on. I was like, okay.
Then Patrick Stewart gets pretty pissed at Gabe, because he's like, wait, like, what did they just do? He's like, they're smarter than you. And then he kind of smashes him against the wall.
And then apologizes for it.
Yeah, I think they know. And he's like, I think they're smarter than you. And just knocks him in the face.
And like, I think that they do a good job of, like, I mean, yeah, I guess humanizing probably would be the right word, of the villains. Because even I think it might have been in the previous scene, there's a scene where Darcy's talking to Gabe about Worm, the guy who does the stabbing.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, like, oh, it was like all this because of Worm. He's like, why? Like, why did we do this for him or something like that? And then Gabe says he's a brother. He's like, yeah, well, then why didn't you go visit him in prison? That stuff helps, which means that, like, maybe we wouldn't be in a situation where we're trying to figure out how we can cover up a stabbing that Worm did on my property, if, like, more people would have reached out to him while he was doing time. And, it's like, okay, well, they're clearly treating the villains as people and not just mindless racist killing machines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's also more smaller things in here where Sam is just like, I don't really want to hold the gun. I'm not comfy with this. Which I guess if you just get a loaded gun just like this, if you never had one before, it's like, I don't want that responsibility.
Yeah, and then Amber's like, I'll take it. They're like, no.
No, not you. So then fucking keep it. But yeah. Oh yes, Jiu-Jitsu has what are you gonna do if I let go of your arm? And Justice just butt fuck everyone in the room. It's just like, still a bit confident here, and then he gets another squeeze, and he's like, "Oh,
you're gonna sit crisscross applesauce."
And then he makes him say it as well. But yeah, the Amber is like getting asked, like, "Is there any other way out of here?" She's like, "Nope." They only have that one thing. Oh well. Well, back with Patrick Stewart, I was like, well, have you have you fed your dogs already? It's like, yeah, but they're professionals, so it'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Which, as much as the dogs and this owner seem to have quite a nice relationship that we see towards the end of the movie, they are fight dogs. So he has them fight other dogs for sport, which not the nicest thing to do to poor canines.
Yeah, Gabe has to compile a list of people who might be in the know of what's going on right now. The dog guy is asking, "Hey, it's gonna be that much for a champ dog, blah blah blah," and pretty sure is like, "Oh, you might lose your you're living with this, but as long as I'm not gonna lose my living, you'll be compensated just fine." It's like, all right,
Yeah.
cool.
So like even they're saying that it's like, yeah, your prize fight dogs that apparently he makes most of his money at stand a chance at dying here, or at least getting injured to the point that they can't earn for you anymore. So
No.
clearly, even the plan is involving stakes and consequences for them. They're not just saying, "Oh yeah, we have fight dogs. It's gonna be fine."
Yeah. And this is also where Patrick Stewart sees the thing in the hallway and it's like, this is a fire hazard.
Yeah.
Um,
Which again, nice little bit of dry humor. That was
Yeah.
like set up a little later, and it like other than the fire extinguisher being an element to the film, it doesn't have much to do with the plot. But it's just that nice little thing you can throw in to be like, yeah, it's a fire hazard.
yeah. The guy who was supposed to be in the bar is not at the bar. He's being covered for by another guy. And they move. I think it's they move the truck of the guys to somewhere else, to the utility shed.
It's another important little beat, isn't it? The guy who's supposed to be at the bar, who isn't at the bar, seems innocuous now, but then means something a bit more later when things start getting pieced together.
Yes, absolutely.
And when they find him, he's in a new car. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, new ride. He's like, oh yeah, it's yeah, I'm probably just gonna get rid of it though. It's like, don't think too much about this car that I have right now, because if I do end up pulling off my plan, I'm going to have to get rid of it because you've seen it.
Yeah. But yeah, he tells him, it's like, hey, we need 4 people. We need some people on the squad. Red laces only, which is all the people who are like ready for violence or something along those lines. I googled it earlier, but I
I guess they've been, I guess, initiated. Like you have to earn the red laces, it seems.
He gives them a list. It's like, oh, you make sure no one gets added to that list unless they have a red lace. But he also says it's a manageable list, so no problemo. We got this. Gabe mentions that there's 80 people in there, but he tells the other guy we just talked about, it's like, oh, you plus 4 other ones. Give Gabe the keys in case we have to play a valet.
Yeah, and he is not super. Daniel is Tad's cousin.
Daniel.
He's not too thrilled about handing over the keys to this particular car, but he obviously knows that he also can't say that.
Mm-hmm.
It would give away the game.
Back in the green room, they're just kind of taking apart the room, trying to figure out if there might be some other way to somewhere. It's like maybe a vent or anything, which also loosens up something from the ceiling that they can use as a bit of a stabby weapon or as a punchy weapon. So yeah, they're just trying to find ways out, including just, seeing what they have in their pockets, like the lady corpse. But it also has a napkin on it that says Fleischwolf, which means meat grinder, basically, which they also say for the non-Germans out there.
Later in the film, Amber reveals the translation of it. I think they initially translated to meat wolf.
Meat wolf. Yeah. Yeah, but Fleischwolf is like a tool that's called like that, where you do put like meat in to make minced meat, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they just try to find all that shenanigans. On the floor, they find a thing where they think it's daylight, and they mark it later on as well. And also a pack of ciggies, which they use in a little bit to see Big Justin in the dark. which is a nice little idea, which I personally wouldn't have thought about. I found that to be quite nice.
Yeah,
Little
see,
touch.
Amber, she's pretty good at thinking on the fly.
Yeah. And they also make Justin empty the pockets, and they put all the things out, but he's clearly hesitant about one specific pocket. And when they make him turn the pockets inside out, it releases a box. They see it reveals a box cutter, and the other thing is a cell phone, which he quickly breaks in half and says, "Oops."
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you piece of shit.
Yeah, they're super happy about finding the box cutter for a moment, and then the next thing it's like, oh, what's that? And it's a phone, and just he immediately snaps it. It's a flip phone, and he like, breaks it in half.
But shortly after, the lights go out. What's up with that? That's probably no good news. And this is also where Amber turns on the cigarette and puts it in Justin's mouth. It's like, smoke this, and if the cherry does a thing you don't like, shoot him.
Yeah, I love the way this shot's directed too, because it's like it's pitch black, and then they're all kind of panicking a little bit, and then Amber lights up the like Bic lighter that she's got, and then she's like, "Careful now." There's a little moment of silence, and I was like, "Oh, that was pretty slick." And yeah, Imogen Poots, I think, is given much better material in this film than she had in 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is where the Tiger, right? He finds the floorboards having light, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Tiger is the singer's name.
Yeah. It's like, ooh, daylight, interesting. And he marks it, I think in the next scene with a pen. It's like, this is where daylight is. But this little outage was a planned outage. And Patrick Stewart goes up to the stage like, it looks like we had a bit of an out on our main energy source. The backups are fired up, but unfortunately we have to call the day and do some troubleshooting. And I was like, that sucks. He's like, we'll come back Wednesday, no door charge, and you know what? Fuck it. Free drinks 2 to 4. And it was like, yeah, awesome.
It's like, yeah, I mean, that's a good way to keep the audience there happy about being sent home earlier than I thought they would. Be like, well, Sunday we're going to have another show and free drinks. Oh, yeah, let's do this.
Also, it's a very expensive way of getting them to come back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like you do got to get them gone and have them not want to be making too much of a fuss, because you already got your hands full, I suppose.
You know, it's just nice that they actually account for, 80 people being here. It's like, okay, how do we get them out of here? It's like, oh yeah, technical difficulties that can't be fixed properly. We need to troubleshoot. That's probably going to do it. And yeah, that's how you get all these people out of here, and they don't just magically vanish for no reason at all. That's how you keep your story coherent. It's nice.
As they're leaving too, and he says, and remember, this is a movement, not a party.
Yeah. And yeah, the place clears up. Very nice. And you have like some cars that have like some very poignant things on their cars, like save our white race and stuff like that. So I think those are the Nazis, I think.
Yeah, so most of the clientele here have a certain political persuasion, you might say.
Yeah. I think Gabe wonders if they're coming through the squad, or if they'll talk, and Patrick says, oh, they got the priorities, that's fine, don't worry about it. And also hands them some drugs, I think those little packages.
I think, yeah, that's they hand them heroin. So I think he's like, yeah, Worm and his buddy aren't going to say anything, because like we're going to give them some heroin, and this is what they want. So us being in any kind of trouble would be problematic for them, because they would lose access to apparently free drugs.
Yeah. Also, this is the first slur Patrick Stewart drops here. He talks about the N-word dope.
N-word dope. We'll say Nazi. We're not saying the other one.
Yeah.
Also, I'll be right back.
Because you're not allowed to quote it, even if it's from a movie, because then you're a bad person.
You are. YouTube will not understand the distinction.
Nope.
Sadly.
They claim they will review it manually in 17 seconds, and then say, no, this was fine, actually. Well, not fine. You know what I mean. But yeah, he gives the drugs to Worm. It's like, here, you shut the fuck up now. And they're like, you got it. And I think that's the last time we see him in the movie, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't remember him coming back.
Yeah. And now we actually got Patrick Stewart at the door. They also put a couch in front of the door as like a little blockade, which says, that's kind of nice. And they immediately asked, are the cops here? It's like, oh, they've come and gone. It got a little complicated, he says. He's like, immediately like, dude, we're so fucked. It's like, yeah. Also, I wondered, because you talked earlier about how his voice is not as booming anymore. He says, oh, I'm getting hoarse. Can you hear me if I go a little lower like this? And they're like, yeah. It's kind of fun. It's like, oh, okay, if you can hear me like this. Also, can we agree to like one person that talks? Because it's kind of annoying if I have to talk to 5 people at once.
You always wonder whether it was like that was actually an outtake. Patrick Stewart just said to the audio guy,
Yeah.
like, I'm getting hoarse. Can you still hear me? And the microphone guy was supposed to say yes.
And then he just starts to talk. It's like, you guys are trapped. That's not a threat, by the way. That's just a fact. Like, you have no way out. And our guy says, well, we have a loaded gun. That's also just a fact. It's like, oh, getting a bit cheeky here. And Patrick Stewart is just like, oh, we have plenty of more guns on hand. Don't worry about it. We just want you out, not harmed, which is very true, of course. He points also out that the firearm they have is not registered, and they wanted it out of the picture before the authorities arrived, which is why they gave them the gun inside of here. At least that's his explanation for it.
I will say, though, this is the part in the movie I had to put the subtitles on, though, because I did have some trouble hearing Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
But it's a clever little way for like the villain to, again, demonstrate part of his intelligence. We don't, I think, know that he's telling the truth in this scene, but it sounds completely plausible, and it's turning the gun into this negotiating position, or like a bargaining thing. He's trying to barter away the one thing they actually have to defend themselves with, and he's coming up with a pretty plausible story as to why they need to do that, which they sort of go along with.
Yeah.
And also, even the story might not even necessarily be a lie, because basically the argument he makes is that that's an unregistered firearm. And think about it from my position. Say there's a band from out of town who've locked themselves in my green room. One person is dead. The other one might be hurt. There's a hostage involved. Am I within my rights to burst this door down and start shooting? Because if the answer to that is yes, which plausibly it could be, that would make their plan even easier, because they could just do exactly that. They might lose Big Justin, depending on how many bullets end up going through that door. But them handing over the gun and allowing the rest of the movie to play out how it is sort of the thing that makes it so that they're not up against like 30 armed men who are just okay with shooting them right away, which, as much as it's not a good bargain, it might still have been the smartest choice to make. Like, I guess thinking from the perspective of the band, I'm not sure that a smarter person could have made any kind of better choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our guys are still like, oh, okay, but what about the police? Are they coming? And Patrick Stewart is like, they've come and gone. He's like, well, that's what concerns us, man.
Yeah.
It's like, and he just keeps insisting, we just want the gun out of the picture. And they just kind of decide, it's like, I mean, I guess we just throw the gun out. We don't really have anything else to go by. We're trapped in here, so we might as well throw them out the gun. But you know what? We keep the bullets. So maybe that's a bit safer.
Well, then Patrick Stewart even says, fine, safer for everybody.
Safer for everybody, yeah. And they try to ask, like, oh, can we just get another gun for that? One that's, registered, maybe?
How about we get a registered firearm? I'm sorry, we can't do that.
And it's like, hey, Justin, are you alive and well? And he just says, I'm alive. Okay, good.
I'm alive.
Yeah, pretty sure it says, like, yeah, things have gone bad, no south, but, if you don't hand over that gun, doesn't gonna go end well. You will see, you see. And then he says what you just said, Mark's like, well, out of town band, there's a hostage involved, locked in a room. even fucking Sam is like, oh, come on, what the fuck, man?
It's like, wait, you would lie to the police? And she's kind of like, yeah, I mean, obviously.
And it's like, well, you've got 30 seconds to answer. And he just asks if anyone's got any ideas. Like, nope, just that's it. And they unload the gun and decide to throw it out. And earlier in the squabble with Big Justin, they broke the little air vent on the door.
Yeah.
And they can see through that. And one of them sees there's 4 people in there outside with Petter. So they're like, oh my god, they're gonna fucking kill us.
Yeah, well, it's Amber, and it's when the door is already too far open for them to do much about it, and because they're standing far enough away, and the vent in question is flush to the door, and it's facing a wall. So if you can see the person that's right in front of the door, but you don't have any kind of lateral field of view.
Mm-hmm.
So it's when the door begins to open, Amber's still, very smartly, I think, looking through the vent, that she sees the red laces, and then she's just like, they're killing us.
They're killing us. Keep the gun. And then they start dragging at his arm, and he keeps onto that gun, but that's a bad idea for his whole hand and arm, because that thing gets chopped to pieces.
Yeah.
Quite gruesomely so. Also, before that, I actually really like that, okay, wait, we don't have the gun to threaten Big Justin anymore. So at gunpoint, it's like, go on the ground, I'll put you back in this arm lock.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
they put him back in the arm bar first.
That's a nice thing to do. But yeah, Sam's arm wait, the guy is called Sam. I'm not mixing up names, right? I'm so bad with names. I say it like every stream.
Sorry, which one are we looking for now?
The guy who got his arm chopped up now.
Pat.
That's Pat, right? Sam is the guitarist lady, right?
Sam's the female guitarist, and Reese is the drummer, the jiu-jitsu guy. It's funny enough that Anton Yelchin actually played Kyle Reese in not the next Terminator film, the next to next Terminator film, when we begin the mediocre Terminator films arc.
Right. So, Jiu-Jitsu sees that. I just call him Jiu-Jitsu now. I think that's funny.
Yeah. Reese.
He sees that things are going badly, and he snaps Big Justin's arm immediately.
Yep.
It's like, oh, you can deal with your arm. I'm gonna help my boys over there. But yeah, Pat's arm is doesn't look great.
Really fucked up. Yeah,
it's like slashed a couple of times, and his hand is almost completely chopped off. It's actually like kind of going limp down, just hanging by a thread of meat. Looks quite gross.
He is not going to be a very good bass player anymore. It's function of his left hand is going to be severely impaired for the rest of his life, because it's like, there's cut to the bone at the wrist with what's going to be probably irreparable tendon damage.
Pretty much, yeah. And they just kind of try to put some pressure on it with little things they have. And later on, they put some duct tape over it, which is probably going to be fantastic time when they finally get to a hospital with that thing.
Well, I mean,
it's funny how effective that is, because the duct tape does sort of end the any kind of plot relevance to the injury, because you sort of think going into it like he could bleed out. There's a ticking clock dynamic to it. Like he's going to be useless for the rest of it. He does perk up a bit after he's had his arm duct taped back together.
Yeah, which, I mean, medical accuracy wise, not fantastic, but I think my biggest problem with it actually is I think it might have just been too late. Like if they had the duct tape right away, that would have probably been a lot more plausible as something that would stop the bleeding before he'd have pretty significant cognitive and hydration concerns. But yeah, there's like that's a bit of a medical nitpick. I'm okay with letting that one go because they do address it. It's not like they just wrap the little cloth that they have around it for the whole movie and he's just okay like it's a bandage from the Last of Us video game. It's just like, yeah, bandage around the arm saves getting shot in the chest.
No.
But yeah, no, it's his arm's pretty bad though. He would
Yeah.
likely need to be in the hospital immediately in real life for
Oh,
that one
absolutely.
to stand a chance at not bleeding out.
They relock the door, rebarricade the door. Unfortunately for them, Justin has recovered from his arm enough to stand up and say, "I'll fucking crush you." Amber, of all people, starts I don't know,
Yeah,
going
no,
towards
she is
him,
brave,
and she just gets
brave
fucking
to a fault. She
she
gets
gets fucking
clotheslined.
clotheslined immediately, which made me laugh. It's like,
Yeah.
he goes
Well, I mean,
for the
that's the
box
thing, like-
cutter. Again, it's just such a normal thing. It's like, I will need something to defend myself with now, so Justin goes for the box cutter he had, and
Yeah,
it's going to be a fight for the box cutter. But Jiu-Jitsu has him in a headlock already, and at this point,
yeah, like a rear naked choke.
a rear naked choke, exactly. And he doesn't want to kill him right now. He just wants to, make him pass out. And he's just like, "Tell me when he's out." And he's like, "Okay." And then just kind of, he fades out shortly. And he was like, "Oh, fuck. Oh, God, that was so crazy." And then he wakes back up again, like he wasn't fully out. And just like puts him right back in there. And
Well, that's actually that's the thing. Like with a rear naked choke, you're blocking off the carotid arteries, and basically your brain goes into sleep mode if it has a moment where you're not getting oxygenated blood to the brain, and the carotid arteries are the two vessels that bring oxygenated blood up to your brain. So once you have that moment where it's like, oh, we're not getting any more blood, the brain just kind of shuts off. But the thing is, when you relieve that pressure, the blood does, like, unless your heart stopped, the blood does get back up there, so it actually can wake you up pretty quickly. And it's unlike an asphyxiation choke where your air supply is actually being cut off, because that, like, I mean, if you damage someone's ability to breathe, those structures will have a lot of trouble being able to bring in air again, like if you're destroying their like trachea. But yeah, no, I guess he's also not ever tried to choke someone out to actually bring them down for a significant amount of time. So
no, just
him not really thinking about that too hard is not out of the question.
I mean, yeah, if he's doing, it sounded like he was doing tournaments and stuff in the past, but obviously you don't kill people there. You do just make them tap out
like, if
shortly
the person,
to, get the KO, basically.
and there might be situations where the person doesn't tap out and they go out.
Yeah, exactly.
But you like they're up pretty quickly, because like obviously you're not going to just keep on hanging on. The ref should stop the match once he sees one of the competitors go limp.
But the second time around, they choke him out quite heavily, and Amber uses the box cutter to just fucking slice open his whole fucking belly.
Yeah.
Which is just like, ugh.
And I mean, again, and that's sort of what the setup for, like, them not, or even Reese not really being someone who has thought about killing someone with jujitsu, that even Sam's like, how long is this supposed to take? And he's like, I don't know. And then yeah, Amber decides to be the tough person again, and just slices his abdomen open in pretty brutal gore shot too. It's he's unconscious when it happens, I guess, luckily for Big Justin, but he's not getting up. Not after that.
Yeah. So, yeah, they have this under control for now. But obviously outside, the squad has arrived. And they have to throw all their guns into a little bin because no guns. We just go in there like that. And they tell them, it's like, well, band came in from out of town, heard one of our own. It's like, oh, who was it? And it's like, was Emily. And obviously Daniel, not happy about that.
Yeah, that was not the name he wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Oh, I just think, where was it? I saw there, super glue. So super glue wouldn't be what we would use for, definitely not an injury like this. We have it's like a glue called Dermabond, but for a skin laceration, like one where it's not going down to the vessels, it's just like, say, a big skin one. You can use Dermabond, and it is like a glue that you can use in lieu of stitches. But the reason duct tape would be better than the glue in this circumstance is that the pressure that you can create with the duct tape can actually act as a tourniquet, which can stop the blood flow to the extremity and like actually make it so that he wouldn't bleed out once you have the duct tape on. But yeah, he depending on how long he has the duct tape on, cutting off his blood supply to that hand, though, like he might have to end up getting an amputation, though.
Mm-hmm.
Your body parts need oxygenated blood too, not just your brain. Otherwise, they fall off. Trust me on that one.
So
No
yeah, they're
stranger to
ready
necrotic
to
limbs.
get in there. Patrick Stewart tells him, like, oh, get ready to repair the thing when we're done here. Tell everybody we had like a leak or something. We need like new drywall, yada yada. So they're prepping to get this thing fixed right away so they can just go back to normalcy. Inside, they're just trying to break walls and just find a way out, including the part that has daylight below their feet. And they soon realize...
that's the one Tiger is hyper fixated on. He's like, nope. He's like, I'm getting out there. There's daylight, or at least what he assumes at that point is daylight. But yeah, like one thing I did enjoy about a lot of this part of the movie is they don't have a lot of options, but they are still just trying to find some kind of way out of this. And yeah, I think that's good. It shows that they're proactive. And even a little later on, there's kind of a wink at Die Hard where twice Sam talks about using the air ducts, and I was like, oh, those are 6-inch ducts. We're not fitting in that. Stop it.
Yeah. Also, Pat apologizes for losing the gun, but Jujutsu says, dude, you hold on to that thing way longer than I would have, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, which is a nice little moment because like, he's ostensibly the tougher of the two of them, but actually, you know, it's sort of part of that unfolding thing about the punk attitude being a bit of an artifice, that they're even the hardest looking ones is probably going to be the softest one underneath because they are all playing parts until this point.
Yeah. Pretty nice. But they finally break the floorboards and realize that's no daylight at all. That's artificial light. Damn AI is even stealing the light work. There was a way smoother joke there somewhere, but I'm melting.
Well, we're replacing the sun with technology. Damn, Edison started the whole AI trend.
But yeah, they find the underground drug lab. Woohoo!
Which is why now you immediately know like why Patrick Stewart and co are being so very careful about not trying to leave any suspicious evidence around. It's not just that they don't want a general mess. They don't want anything that could even feasibly lead somebody to investigate anything about the room, because if they do, then they will probably notice the light beneath the floor. And if they notice the light beneath the floor, oh shit, heroin everywhere. That's massively illegal.
Absolutely. And immediately they're looking around, oh shit, there must be a way out of here. So they find a door, but that's a heavy door. They try to kick it open, doesn't work. And then they find the hatch in the ceiling of that thing, but that's also locked. And they show the outside of it, and I think it looks like a well or something. So it's not very obvious. So yeah, even though they found a new place, still no way out. Everything is heavily locked and shut off. So no way out from here either.
That hatch is effectively the only way in or out too, because the daylight they see is an accident. Like it's not, you're not supposed to be able to get into that room from the green room of the thing. I think just Patrick Stewart's like, yeah, if this room becomes a murder scene though, I know what this room's on top of, even if there's not like an obvious door into our drug den.
Yeah, and this is also where they find some duct tape to basically just duct tape the whole arm now.
Yeah, which again, like a good move, can create pressure and actually like act as a tourniquet. Although again, my only issue with it is I would have liked it if they had the duct tape earlier to explain why Anton Yelchin is still capable of standing after 10 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
Or at least, I mean, honestly, I would have been okay with it if they just tied a belt around it, like his upper arm.
Right.
You need something to stop that bleed though, and the cloth isn't going to do it.
Yeah, they tell Pat about the whole bunker down there, all the heroin they found. And Amber points out, it's like, it's not about her or us. It's just he doesn't want this to be found out. Then Jujutsu is basically like, okay, I'm done with this. If you want to strategize, go ahead. I'm just gonna fucking run out and try to just get out and get help because we are out of options.
Yeah, and I guess he's not really wrong.
They also point out like they can't just can't have us go missing. They need us to be found so they can maybe stage something. Or so they're kind of like theorizing what they can do and why they just haven't come in here and mowed them down yet. And this is also where Pat starts talking about this paintball game. He talked before, they had before, where they were matched up against some actual war veterans from Iraq, and they were just annihilated all the time. But he doesn't get to finish his little story because they always think, oh, he's just going a bit wacky because of all the blood loss. So yeah, sorry.
He was trying a pep talk.
Yeah. It's like, was that a pep talk? Yeah, Amber asked that exactly.
But yeah, but I think also to help reinforce the urgency of the situation, though, like Reese is like, yeah, I mean, I appreciate the story, but like we do have to go now. Like we're not in a situation where we can waste much time because we might have an opening here where they're trying to get their shit figured out, and yeah, so we got to go. So we pause the motivational paintball talk.
Yeah. But yeah, they are now ready to go out and possibly fight their way out if they have to. There's also the first one where Sam says, all right, fuck it, Simon and Garfunkel. They're like, what? Desert Island Band. It's like, oh. And then the other guy says Prince.
And Tiger's like, still the Misfits.
Yeah.
And then Amber, who wasn't initially asked the question, says Madonna and Slayer as she opens the box cutter.
Yeah.
But Pat still declines his answer, at least for now.
But yeah, they are ready to go outside. Sam even breaks a light tube and just throws it out immediately in case someone is waiting. This is kind of fun. And they slowly make their way outside to the stage and the floor. But there's no one here. It's like, oh, like, should we hide or something? It's like, well, they're pretty much waiting for me. And this is where the fangs come in. And prepare your Fs in chat because that's it for Jujutsu. He's getting fucked up by that dog immediately.
No, Tiger.
Oh, the Tiger. Oh, sorry. Tiger.
Jujutsu, honestly, his death is even more sad. Like, I guess spoilers for Jujutsu. But yeah, no, it's Tiger gets eaten by, or like his throat torn out by the pit bull.
Yeah.
Or one of them at least. And as he is bleeding out, he notices but is unable to communicate that there is a shotgun under the bar.
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah, Jujutsu finds a way outside through a window, but someone is waiting there. He just gets fuck stabbed out of him. And
it's just so disappointing because, like, I mean, he's the one who's basically been the closest to the action hero character. Like, he's the fighter of the group. He finds a door, it's locked. He kind of tries to hammer through it and can't. Finds a window that he can open, opens the window, and the second he hits the ground, he's being stabbed. And it's like,
it's just, it's just refreshing though, because they're up against, kind of an organized group that has weapons on them. So it went as pretty much as well as you would expect it to go in real life as well, because they were all waiting for them. They have dogs and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a great time for them. And they this is also where Sam gets the fire extinguisher for the first time and sprays the...
That's how she avoids getting macheted to death.
Yeah. And they just end up going back to the green room after. And I was like, oh, this didn't go well. That sucks.
Yeah, they lost too. But I mean, again, I think that this movie does a really good job of explaining why even the three of them are able to survive this situation. Because the the enemies are limited in number because they consciously don't want many of their own people involved in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just shooting them because while we don't know the specifics of their plan, they do not want there to be bullets to be in the corpses.
Mm-hmm.
And like that is a by design thing, or at least
Yeah.
in the corpses of the band.
Doesn't Patrick
which
Stewart
we'll
say
find
if
out.
you do shoot, you have to get them out yourselves, the bullets or
Yeah.
something along those lines?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's like, well, okay. So the like, I mean, I think this movie, if it were handled less well from what would be the word for it? Not procedural, maybe not, but like if the mechanics of it were done less well, then a lot of this movie could be well, why don't they just do blank
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
totally fall apart? But they do the mechanics of this movie in a way that makes it not entirely lame and just like, okay, well, either the villains are stupid or the heroes are stupid, and this is a bunch of stupid people doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
It's yeah, they both sides have limitations, be they physical or due to their strategy, and it keeps the tension there without having this movie just seem dumb.
Yeah, like with hindsight, you could say it probably would even have been best if the villains had gone in en masse and just started shooting. But that's the kind of thing that is only clear with hindsight, that their strategy is absolutely well motivated. It just goes wrong for a couple of like completely understandable reasons. So yes, it might have worked, but they didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
As I said, with hindsight, they could have acted differently. It's not like, and it's just because it's the recent example, Ironheart, where she's like, I need funds, and then just starts selling technology for $100 to her fellow students. And it's like, how about you sell this for like millions of dollars to an actual company? Or, use your solar-powered Iron Man suit that is definitely not powered that way with those little turbines on your back. That's not happening.
Hold on, she is a solar powered Iron Man suit.
That's what she
Yep.
says. Her suit
Wind
is
and solar.
solar and wind powered, which I was like, oh, that's interesting how you do that. And then later you see there's like 2 solar panels that look like wings and 2 small turbines on the shoulders that go in and out. It's like, there's no way this gives you anywhere close to an arc reactor's power.
I mean, I was
By
gonna
the way,
say,
if
like,
they
did
do, if it
forget
did, you
what-
would be a billionaire because
It's
you have
exactly what I
cracked
also
the
said,
problem of
yeah.
energy conversion. So
Yeah.
You could be a fantastillionaire with this. You just solved all of the world's energy problems. Just building one of those in big, and you can. There's so much power. So yeah, this God, Ironheart is
You gotta
bafflingly awful.
Were the writers just like, well, arc reactor, I mean, it's basically nuclear power, and we don't like nuclear power, so whatever, solar power. She's a solar powered Iron Girl.
No, I think the idea with arc reactor is that it's not anything like that. Because I remember in Iron Man 1, they basically started the arc reactor stuff to appease the hippies. And I think that's the actual quote from Iron Man 1. That's what Obadiah Stane says. So it's like a clean energy already.
But now it's a clean energy that exists in our world, so
Damn
it's
it.
better. Oh my god. I'm so happy you didn't make me watch this show, Metal.
I didn't plan to watch it myself. I forgot it came out. And then I just did it. And yeah.
Well, don't worry. You'll pay me back by making me watch Fantastic Four later.
Exactly. I'll get pain somewhere else. Also, Amber is being bitten by a dog, and they end up creating is reverb the right way, like
Feedback.
a feedback with the microphone, which freaks out the dog, so they run away from the scene.
which is pretty clever because they, as far as from what I recall of the film, they don't mean to do it this time, but they notice that it works on the dog. So when they do it later, they do it deliberately. So it's like they accidentally stumbled upon a pretty effective plan, which makes a lot of mechanical sense. And it's like it's a little small mundane thing using stuff around you, which is quite a nice thing to see.
So it's kind of a bit of both this first time. So it's that Pat sees that she's in trouble and notices that the feedback seems to be like throwing the dog off a bit. So then he grabs the mic and puts it right up to the speaker to make the feedback really intense. And so he does sort of do it deliberately, even though he kind of finds it out by accident. But yeah, it does come into play in their final gambit later on.
Yeah,
dogs have a good hearing, so if you have ultra loud PA system feedback, it would maybe not make them function at peak performance. I don't train fight dogs. I have enough trouble taming a small poodle, but I can imagine that if sometimes, like even like actually during this scene while we were watching the movie, both the dogs seem to be a little bit disturbed by it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's accurate.
And Patrick Stewart even wants, wait, you're retiring the dog for the night? He's like, yeah, well, he's worked up. He's like, well, send another one. Send two. Finish it. He's like, well, I gotta kill that feedback first, because if I send two fighting dogs in there, you can expect them to fight each other. So that's not happening. You gotta kill
Yeah.
that
Well,
feedback.
I mean, I think it's like those, I think were two distinct thoughts though. He's like, well, I'm not sending them in while the feedback's there because then they're just going to run back out and both of them are going to be useless. And I'm
Yeah.
not sending at any point two in at the same time because they're just going to kill each other.
Yeah. But now we got Daniel here who's like, don't worry about it. Give me, I think he says, give me the rules, I'll finish it. And it's like, goes in there.
Yeah, and then I think that is where he specifically states blades and fangs only, and
Yeah.
and so he's like, rules is do not use guns. And at this point, Darcy is not aware that Daniel he's got other reasons for wanting to check out what's going on inside, because
Yeah.
they have even lied to their own people about how Emily was killed as well.
Mhm.
They've said it's the band who killed her, not the not the worm.
Not the worm. Also, Jiu-Jitsu, he's not dead yet. He's still breathing a little bit. And Patrick Stewart says, let him bleed. Later is better for the time of death. Which says,
Oh, which, yeah.
damn. That's so fucked.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, though, very, very clinical and
Mhm.
for a reason that serves his plan. It's, as much as it is, like, I guess, in a way sadistic, his reason for saying let him bleed isn't just like, fuck this guy. It's, yeah, well, we want the
Yeah.
time of death to be later on, so.
But yeah, Daniel and the other guy that he brings with him go inside. They kill the feedback, and they knock on the door. With knocking, I mean he just kicks it open, and they, again, for the second time, they use the fire extinguisher to stop them. Which now I know what Platoon means with it's the most effective weapon. I kind of forgot that it's used 3 times.
Well, because I mean, yeah, it's not only a distraction weapon, but I mean, they don't really use it for this, but it's also a very effective blunt force trauma weapon too. Like you can smash someone's head in with a fire extinguisher for sure. Big solid chunk of metal.
Yeah. And Daniel immediately asks, "Where's Emily?" He's like, "It's down there." He's like, "Who did it?" He's like, "Well, fucking Worm did it." He's like, "Bullshit." But then they explain it to him. What was actually going on. And Amber says Worm found out that she was leaving, and it wasn't with him. No, she didn't say it was with you.
Yeah,
Meat
which
grinder.
makes you think that the victim is the girlfriend of Tad's cousin that was going to be showing up, and she apparently was in a relationship with Worm, presumably while he was in prison, and did not wait for him, and. Yeah, he wasn't even told that Daniel was the reason that she was leaving. She was just told that he was leaving, and apparently that made him angry enough to stab her.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and the song Fleischwolf, that was their cue to stab her.
Oh no, it was the cue to leave.
Oh,
like,
to leave.
It was
okay.
like when that song happens, because the Fleischwolf was in her.
Oh yeah, that
pocket.
makes more sense. Yeah, no, you're
and it wasn't
right.
it wasn't the
yeah.
It was the other band. It was, I guess, the headliner's song, because that would be one that they'd be aware of. And it's like, yeah, when they play this song that's kind of towards the end of the set and people will be like pretty focused on the headliner, this is when we're going to meet outside. Come to me in the new car that I've got here, and yeah, we'll get away from this place. But what I guess the only big mistake that I think Daniel makes here, that like again, both times watching it, I was like, why did he let the other guy?
Yeah, why did
leave?
he? because he tells the other guys like, you should get out of here.
Yeah, and, like this is the thing that makes you understand, like, because even he knows. He's like, I'm a traitor, and if they didn't know, they know now. Presumably because that guy goes out and says, yeah, no, like he just started talking to them, and once he found out about Emily, he kind of froze up, and I don't know what's going on with this guy. It's like, well,
I guess if he's into his characterization, like he is not, he's quite new to all this, and he isn't really part of all this. Like he's a nice guy. He doesn't want to kill people for the sake of killing them, so he lets him go because he's not actually himself a murderer. Would be my read.
I mean, I guess he's not, but I mean, he is also one of the red laces too. So like, I think at least Daniel has been in this world for quite a while. He just, I think maybe it was just that he didn't want to kill the clearly like younger soldier guy who like is probably a newer one. Because I mean, maybe he's just got like a Tom Holland face, but like the other guy that's in the room with him, who's kind of I guess one of the main sort of muscle villains for the last little bit is he looks like he's about 10, so maybe that might have been a reason you don't want to just like use the machete on him to be like, okay, well, we're getting out of here, and if anyone asks, you guys cut this dude up.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, back
yeah,
outside,
no,
that
I
happens.
really though
He
did
tells him
yeah.
that they were just started talking, and then Patrick Stewart's character, he checks the trunk and he finds a bat that has not been disposed of, and apparently that's from like a job from before Gabe was even there. Like, yeah, those were supposed to be get rid of, and I guess
Or when
they,
he was a rookie at least.
yeah, and looks like they want to get out of here. Yeah, you were still handing out leaflets when these boys made their bones, right? Yeah, it's from last.
But then he
Easter.
also says, that's the thing, it was last Easter. It's like, oh wait, so Gabe's the manager of the bar and doing all this stuff, and he's only been here for a year? Like, I guess, like, I mean, Gabe's ultimate fate, though, has that makes that a little bit relevant if he's like, yeah, maybe this isn't for me.
Yeah, and with that revelation, Patrick Stewart even says, "Don't worry about it. Worm just saved us all." Basically,
Yeah.
showing, ratting out the other guy that was about to just ditch the group, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess like his logic is like, had Worm not done the act that he described as selfish earlier of killing Emily, and had you not kind of fucked up and like to the point that we had to end up getting to this moment where we sent Daniel in and were able to search his car, we would have all been in jail in like a week.
Yeah. I think now the others are just kind of looking for things to do or defend themselves. Obviously, Daniel is now here. Oh
yeah,
yeah,
they go down to the heroin den, and because Sam immediately jumps down the second Daniel and the other dude get into the room, which, yeah, there's not a way out there, but I guess her thing was like, well, I'm not, I want to run somewhere.
And yeah, the Sam's like, "Who's this?" Like, "Oh, I'm a traitor. If they don't know, they're gonna know soon. So I can get you out of here." And she just says, "Wow, a conspiracy." And he just says, "Nah, just a clusterfuck."
Which, yeah, I mean, it's kind of what every party in this situation is in the middle of at this point. No one's plan is going particularly well.
Yeah. But now the squad gets their guns back, but it's still only fangs and blades for the visitors. But because they're getting low on time, Daniel and Amber, they can be shot. I don't care.
Yeah, and then he also gives them the stipulation about if you do need to shoot one of the band members, try to hit meat, not bone, and and like one round only, because anything you put into them, you're gonna have to be fishing out.
Yeah. I think keep the shooting pattern close or something along those lines. He also says.
Keep your grouping close.
Grouping, that was the word I was looking for. Yeah.
And also, well, I guess like once the next weapon is involved, the I forget what the younger Nazi soldier guy's name that goes in with Daniel, he flat out says no buckshot when they aim at one of the band members. He's like, no, he's like, it's gonna be very hard for us to get all the pellets out.
Anyway, Daniel tells us like, oh, there's like a parallel in the main road. There's a river on the other side. You can go through this place. So they kind of just tells them where they about to go. And then he gets some shells from below the counter, looks for guns, and he gets shot immediately by one of the squad members that just came inside.
Yeah, well, because I guess before the scene that was just outside ends, Patrick Stewart actually says, like, is there something we're forgetting about? And that kind of like pays off in that it's like, oh, they forgot about the shotgun under the bar, and having Daniel in the loop means they might find that shotgun. So they send one of the dudes in there first to grab the shotgun before Daniel gets to it.
Yeah.
So,
Which is
a
fair
little
because it's
bit
like
of a
it's
subversion.
lampshading kind of in the sense that it is a problem that they forgot, but then when you consider how much else they're trying to stage manage at the same time, they make it make sense because he's done so much explaining so many like joining of so many different dots, keeping all these different plates spinning and all the rest of it. The fact he forgets about a shotgun under the bar it becomes believable, and actually surfacing it in the script is one of those rare instances where like lampshading an issue actually helps the story as opposed to hindering it.
Good point. Yeah.
Also, I mean, they don't have run of the bar for most of the movie. Like they're primarily in the green room, so maybe like figuring out like, okay, what are all the things we could remove from the bar that they could potentially use against us wasn't their top priority. Because I mean, you would have to like search pretty hard to find a shotgun that's bolted to the underside of the bar. When the only one that sees it is because he's on the floor being having his neck torn out by a dog.
Yeah, he shoots once. Daniel is donezo. Goodbye, Daniel.
Yeah, he gets jessied.
He gets
just shot from off camera, one shot to the head.
Amber immediately reacts and just uses I don't even know what she has in her hands. Something to
I think the fire extinguisher.
No, fire extinguisher is Sam. She uses that next, which is
so then I guess
3.
Sam uses the fire extinguisher, and then Pat. This is actually Pat's like only kill until like the end of the movie, where he uses the machete and just takes the dude out.
Does Amber have the? Oh, I think she has like a post or something from the green room. I think that's what they use to break the floorboards. If I see this right here. Anyway, she uses that to guide the hand of the guy into the wall, so he doesn't have a clear shot anymore. And yeah, he gets slashed in the neck, and they take the shotty.
Yeah, 3-person takedown too.
And then they try to go outside. It's like, we got a gun now, but they're waiting with more guns there. And Amber gets shot in the leg immediately. And Sam tries to do something with the shotgun. I think. Does she miss?
Yeah, she picks up the shotgun. The pit bull's running at her, and she misses.
Right.
Which, I mean, again, we've established she's not super comfortable with firearms. So if you're trying to get a clean shot with a pit bull running at you, you might not have the best aim. So.
But yeah, Sam gets bitten and stopped, and only Amber and Pat are left, and they go back to the green room, and we're down to 2. Yeah, no, the problems on all the sides.
Mm-hmm. And now, because they have two dog killed and 1 knife killed band member, Patrick Stewart also kind of takes the restrictions off, because he's like, well, no, one of them can disappear. That's fine.
Exactly. In the green room,
3 corpses.
Pat says, I can't die here with you. And it's like, well, then don't, or something. And she wonders about the little pep talk he was about to do. And it's like, it no longer applies. Just like, but I'm curious though. It basically it's like, yeah, they annihilated us basically every round in this paintball game. And at some point, one of our guys was so annoyed with it, he just fucking went out yelling, guns blazing, and just killed them all with the paintball guns.
Is like he created confusion, and the Marines just like kept on missing because the guy was just like bolting across the middle of the battlefield and ended up landing shots on all of them. And it's like, well, yeah, it's like, so maybe something like that'll happen. And then like he's like, yeah, but this isn't paintball. If we get shot here, we die. And then we get the little thing that Amber does to kind of give him some confidence. So it's like, well, why don't we just pretend it's paintball? Let's let's act as if, and that is sort of all they end up doing for the rest of the movie.
So yeah, they just pretend, and they put face paint on with like a Sharpie and stuff like that. Outside,
The Sharpie is actually that's a callback to when Tad answers the door after like the first night that they're staying at his house. He says, "Oh, you fell asleep first, huh?"
Yeah.
And you don't see Anton Yelchin's face, and then the next shot you see him in the mirror, just he's like, washing off all the stuff they've drawn on his face after he fell asleep.
Yeah. Well, back with Patrick Stewart and Gabe. Gabe actually earns his stripes, or his laces, I should say, because here, you helped me out so well this whole time, so there you go. You've earned it. He's like, all right, thanks, but he doesn't look super happy about it.
Yeah,
he's like, I don't know, man, this is kind of fucked.
Yeah, I think this whole day has put Gabe in a state where he's like, yeah, I don't know, I don't know if this is the world I want to invest in.
And this
but he doesn't make that clear yet, at least. So as far as we know, Gabe is still a badman.
Yeah. Anyway, he tells him that we need to look for a new daily band, or what is it called? Hang on, maybe the subtitles will save me with the right wordage here.
House band?
House band, thank you.
Yeah.
I could just ask people that natively talk the language. That helps. But yeah, it says maybe to push Neil and the other ones, start looking for a new house band. Because we need to get back on routine. And,
yeah, so a house band being a band that like plays there every night or all the time would make it so that, like there'll be less variables to have to consider. We won't have to worry about people who we can't trust being in this environment, and that'll make things a bit more simple.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart says we're more worried about their habits, and this is where he drops the second N-bomb. You really have to stay away from that N-word dope. There's a bad batch doing the rounds.
Yeah, which I guess actually when I was in the washroom, I heard you guys saying that we don't see Worm again, but we do, and we noticed that the Bad Batch may have done something to Worm's buddy.
Oh, you're right. That's like at the ending thing. Oh, yeah. Good point. I completely forgot that it was him. But now that you mention it, you are absolutely right. So yeah, they're all mopping up here, basically outside. Put all the corpses in the truck and stuff like that. And also, I think one of the dogs has been hit by something, because he puts like medicine in him. It's like that's gonna keep him alive for like an hour or so. So he's sad that his dog is about to die.
Well, I mean, I guess because Amber was kind of smashing the dog's head with the mic stand. So it was probably the first one that got spooked by the feedback.
Probably, yeah.
But it's a nice little touch, making sure that your villains are at least implied to be characters with day jobs and that cares beyond the immediate.
I mean, it's just rare enough to see movies humanize like the villains in any form. Yeah. It's like, actually, I'm horrible, but I do care about the dogs. I've raised them my whole life.
Particularly hilarious that it's a movie where because you consider that a lot of the these villains are going to be faceless evil people is a lot of the like millennial writing tendency of thinking like, oh, okay, well, if these are bad guys, they're like basically Nazis, so we just kill them. And these guys are actually Nazis, and these writers are doing like a decent job of being like, yeah, they're Nazis, but they are still human beings too. Mm. Like, they're not good people, but they have feelings, they have things they care about.
Yeah. So now there's only 3 people left to mop up the last 2 in this room. We got Gabe here, who is basically now in charge of cleaning up and maybe putting on some new drywall, cleaning the walls, stuff like that. They got the one dog, which the guy tells him the commander's fuss, which is like catch or bite or get him or something if you translate it to the English.
Oh, there you go. There's a word you can teach us.
Yeah, there you go. Fuss is basically like grab, you could say. In any case, they make their way to the green room, But we get new microphone feedback, and the dog runs away immediately. And they tell Gabe, like, why don't you turn it off? It's like, oh, I wanted to, but it's not coming from the stage mixer. And because there's a mixer inside the green room as well. And that's the one they use to create a feedback. So they got rid of the dog, so that's nice. And now we get the big thing where, as Platoon mentioned earlier already, the count of bullets is going to be very important here. Because we're going to keep track of this to create tension. And now they go into the green room and we see Pat there with a shaven head.
Yeah. And a bomber jacket on. He's wearing one of their jackets and shouting down into the heroin den hole.
Yeah.
And so when the two of the like guys going in there to kill him walk in, they don't know who that is. They're like, wait, like, is one of our guys still here? And then one of them says, who is that? And that's the line I was referencing to not Kevin Feige earlier in the chat. He turns around with his head shaved and war paint on with the magic marker, and he says Odin himself, which I love Anton Yelchin's delivery of that line too, because it is like kind of your badass action hero line, but you can still tell there's that hint of like he doesn't even really believe it. Like he's just like, yeah, I'm Odin himself, and then he jumps down the hole and kind of hurts his hand when he lands, and
and then just runs through
there's
the
a
bunker
messiness to
and
it.
just goes like just slashes randomly and just making noise.
Yeah, because he's like they can see clearly that he's trying to lure them into a trap, and he's doing everything he can to make noise to bring them down there, but it's not immediately clear what that trap is.
And I was like, okay, I got 3 shots. I was like, it's like, and even those two have like a little plan. It's like, if you hear me fire twice, you come down no matter what. And even points out, like, this is a trap. It's like, yeah, you think I don't know that? You want to tell Darcy this? He's like, oh yeah, okay.
And again, that's like, it's another one of those things that it makes the ineptitude of the villains motivated by something that makes sense. That it's like the reason they didn't immediately like call Gabe and get him in there is because like, well, I don't necessarily want Darcy knowing that we kind of fucked this up a little bit. So maybe we'll try to find a way to do this in a way that we could be like, yeah, we just went in there and killed them and it was totally fine. And like he's reluctant to have it be something that will be seen as like ineptitude on his part. And like even the other guy is like, no, like I want the shotgun, and he's like, yeah, well, do you want to go in the hole? Because he's like, I'm the one that's volunteering to like jump down the hole into the trap. But then he's like, okay, well, there's presumably no one in the room here, so you just stay at the top here with like a vantage point, and if he's luring me over to where he's making a bunch of noise and someone comes from behind me, like your eyes don't ever come off my back. Like you watch my back, let me know. And if you hear 2 rounds fire, I don't care if you're scared and don't want to come down here. You're coming down here because I need help.
And also, obviously, he's got a shotgun with 3 shots. There's 1 guy down here, maybe 2. So he feels probably confident enough, at least for the time being, until he reaches the point where he can only possibly be close to the enemy. And just says, fuck this, and just steps back again.
Yeah.
And says like, hey, fucking go get Gabe. We need 2 people down here. But he just sees Amber approaching from behind because she was hiding beneath the couch cushions.
Which is such a great shot too.
Yeah, you just see her in the background getting out of it, and she slices the guy's throat. So they got rid of this guy. Now Pat tries to, use this distraction to get him from behind with the machete. But Amber also has a handgun now from the other guy and starts shooting inside. But she's just kind of widely shooting in there, so Pat has to go back to where he was so he doesn't get shot by accident.
Yeah, like she was trying to provide him with some like cover fire, but she almost hits him, so he's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, again, like they make their ineptitude kind of not only make sense but also like ramp up the tension because these aren't like soldiers. Like they would not necessarily be great about pulling off an ambush, but they're
Yeah.
also not idiots, which is why like Amber is being very clear to like even if you remember and can do this math yourself in the event that you've got like combat stress, I'm reminding you
Yeah.
exactly how many shotgun shells you have to worry about. And she doesn't stop doing that.
Yeah, because he keeps shooting at her. At some point, we got fire extinguisher usage number 4, which I think is now the last one. So yeah, they got a lot of
Mhm.
mileage out of that fire extinguisher, and she dangles feet in there, kind of to pretend she's coming out there, and he's just like, ah, nice fucking try, and then she just drops his friend in there.
Yeah, because I think he can also sort of see that it's like, yeah, you pulled up the leg, but I can still very clearly see that's a big man's
Yeah.
leg, not yours. So she fails in making him waste around with that one.
Yeah. So he's got one more round left, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
And then looks like no, wait, it's 2. Hang on, he shoots one at him, misses because he goes back in after he knocks him down. And then it looks like she goes back down, and this time he shoots.
Yeah, he
but
shoots a woman's leg, which presumably is Amber's.
yeah, but no, they used the friend's corpse, or she used the friend's corpse to
It's Emily's leg.
lure him out. It was like, oh, that's actually really smart. I forgot she's still around here. That's pretty good. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a thing with like action scenes where we constantly complain, and more modern things like you have like all these guns lying around. You have the protagonist beat everybody up, and there's like 17 guns on the floor, and nobody is going for any guns. While here you have the whole focus of like, okay, this guy has 1 gun, the other one has 1 gun. We have no guns. We need to get creative, so they waste their limited ammo they have to get rid of the biggest threat in this situation. And that's all this has been the whole time.
And it's all mechanically interesting while being tense and kind of scary, having almost a bit of levity because they're clearly not trained, experienced soldiers. They're like 2 young people who are very scared and not ultra competent, but they're not incompetent in a way that makes it like frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Like their incompetence seems to make sense with who they are, which yeah, I don't think that is I don't think that's a thing that a lot of writers are very good at, because I think that often they'll have people who are to presume are very competent just make insanely dumb decisions,
Mm-hmm.
and we have trouble buying it because it's like, well, why did you make them an idiot? It's like, well, because the plot needs to happen.
It's good old fashioned idiot plot stuff. You have to be competent yourself in order to be able to write incompetent characters properly. And the problem is that too many people who try to write clever characters are themselves incompetent.
Exactly. And it's quite frustrating, especially funny enough, I can quote or mention Ironheart again, where they keep saying she's such a genius. We call her genius all the time, but still she doesn't sell all the technology she makes to everyone to make everything go away and not the show exist. But you know, she's a genius because we told you so.
Yep, there's a lot of tell don't show that happens in modern fiction. Oh, yes, also before we get too far away from it, as the shot that the director uses when Amber's crawling out of her hiding spot in the couch is like really, really cool, because it's like intentionally out of focus.
Yeah.
And the way she's crawling out almost looks like Sadako from Ringu, or like, actually I forget the girl from The Ring also for the
I have no idea what
viewers,
she's called.
Oh,
Samara? It's an S
that
name,
sounds. It
too.
sounds. I think it's
Samara?
Samara. That sounds correct.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it looked kind of like she does this like creepy kind of like wide shoulder lift crawl, and it doesn't seem like comical because it is just out of focus and creepy, and then it like you get like a close up of her extending the blade of the box cutter, and next thing you know, Buddy's getting his throat sliced. Hey,
Oh.
Deb, thanks for the raid.
Thanks for the raid, Dev. appreciated. Very nice. Let's. But yeah, the pistol, the handgun drops down, and the guy's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna go for that." But it was a clever ruse because it's completely empty, and she got the mag out. So that was also kind of nice. Pat, in the meantime, is one-handedly. Sure, that sounds right.
One-handedly loading the shotgun because he was hanging on to the ammo for Amber.
Yes. And before he can shoot, the other guy just uses the gun to just throws it in his face, and he just flinches back and shoots the gun by accident. So that shot is gone as well.
Well, no, I think that shot actually gets loaded in the middle of the fight. Like, because as they're struggling for it, Pat almost had one of the shells loaded. And so, like, basically I gotta forget the villain in this scene's name, the Tom Holland one, the guy who's probably an adult but looks like he's 15.
No, that's the second one. The first one he has already in there, and then he throws the gun, and then that one goes off.
Oh, but I
There's
could have
two
sworn
shots that
he
get
like
fired. I'm pretty sure. Wait, I'm looking at looking at it right now. So he's loading the gun. Yeah, and then the Baden guy, the nasty one, he throws the handgun at Pat, and he just kind of tries to.
Yeah, that throws off his shot.
Yeah. And yeah,
but
during
but
the
as they're
squabble,
struggling, though,
he loads the gun. The bad guy, the nondescriptive Nazi man who hasn't been a character before.
Yeah, I think he does have. I think his name might be like Johnny or something like that. I remember him having a pretty like basic person name.
Oh, actually, there's no shot
There's
no other shotgun shot going off. They're just struggling and they load it. And before anything else happens, Amber comes down, grabs the mag, and shoots him in the neck and in the head.
Yeah,
and then just says, "I got him." And Pat's just like,
"Yeah,
totally." We flabbergasted that motherfucker.
Yeah, which not a term I've ever used for like a kill, even when playing a video game, but it was an interesting one. It was like flabbergasted.
I'm more used to hearing a different F word when you're playing shooters online. Flabbergasted is not one.
Oh man. So yeah, they've successfully got rid of those guys, and now Gabe comes into the room ready to clean more, and he's like, what's happening? And then just
I guess we didn't mention that Gabe is not intervening in this whole thing because he can't hear because he's pressure washing the hallway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in the main sort of area from like the dog, it's the stage area that he's using a pressure washer on that's making a lot of noise.
Yeah, and they ask him, "Is like any more dogs?" Like, no, they're up the road with the other ones. And he just gets rid of his gloves, and I think he spits or something, and he's like, "I don't want to go to jail."
Yeah. And I mean, here is one of because I always remembered that being what he said, and I think it's just the copy I was watching had incorrect subtitles because the subtitles said, "I don't want to go to jail." And I was like, I know that's not what he says. And then I turned them off and I turned up my volume and tried to listen to it a bit louder. And I was like, yeah, he definitely says, I want to go to jail.
Oh, does he? Oh, because my subtitles also say don't want to go to jail.
No, it's I want to go to jail is what he says. Because this is him basically saying, yeah, I'm not doing this.
I think that's the subtitle person not paying attention. They wrote what is commonly heard in like dialogue in movies like this, just characters stating the most basic, uncomplicated motive imaginable. Whereas this one obviously gives him a slight little like unusual characterization. I want to go to jail. I know I've done stuff wrong.
I want to go to jail. Yeah, well, and like I guess again, like
listen to it. It's definitely I want to go to jail. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that this is like one of the things that I've again found beneficial of doing like a double watch of this movie, in that there's a lot that happens with Gabe that can really kind of make you see that's like, man, his heart's not in this.
Yeah,
like he's doing what he has to do because he's like, yeah, no, this is my job. I'm gonna do what I can with my job and do everything I can to stop this situation from becoming terrible. But even as it starts becoming terrible, he's got this subtle level of reluctance, like not to the point that's like, oh well, he's clearly the good guy and he's definitely going to end up saving them in the end kind of obviousness to it. But that doubt you sort of see in him through the entire movie. And as like you kind of pointed out, when he gets his laces, he doesn't seem ultra happy about the fact that he apparently has only been around for like a year, and I guess kind of jumped to a higher rank maybe faster than he would have. And it might have been the kind of thing that he'd be like, man, I'm honored, sir. Thank you very much. But he's just kind of like, yeah, okay, red laces, nice. Like there's an element of like, what am I doing with my life behind his eyes through the whole movie.
Yeah.
I think the casting was good for him too, because that actor's just sort of got that type of sympathetic face.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Anyways, they're
Resting
making their
puppy dog eyes, I guess.
they're making their way outside, and they see Daniel's car. It's like, does anyone know how to hotwire a car? It's like, no, but you should probably stay off the road anyway. And then they make their way through the woods.
And as he says that too, it cuts to the pit bull that ran away from the feedback, just kind of it's just like walking down the road. Which again, like it seems to be setting up a threat again. Like it's like, oh, okay, well, this dog's going to be a problem, and they do again like a nice subversion with it, which we'll get to.
In the woods, they hear some gunshots. Like, oh, what are they doing? Something you don't want to see. And then they ask him, did you see them die? It's like 2 of them, not the 3rd. And this leads Pat to say, yeah, I'm going. If I can save one of my friends, I'll do it. And they tell guys like, oh, if you disappear, I'll find you. So you go and call the cops. And he just makes his way to I don't actually exactly know where, but 2 people.
They refer to it as the orchard, which we can
yeah.
assume is just like an apple orchard that is not run by neo-Nazi people. It's like this is a safe place that we can go and call the cops, and no one is gonna like cut you up with a machete because you're doing that.
Yeah, and they sneak their way up to good old Jean-Luc Picard and the last henchman that's here.
There's 2. There's the Hound Master and
right.
I think it's the goon that stabbed Reese also.
True, yeah, that makes sense. And I was like, give me your gun. I don't have one. It's like, if you don't give me one, I'll shoot you either way. It's like, okay, you have the gun. It's like, nope, throw it, and then just kind of throws it over there, and he slowly, while still holding the gun into his face, goes to the gun to grab it. So yeah, not being a dumbass and being distracted like you always see. So it's like, no, nice and careful. He even gets like a little stuck with his jacket, which just seems real. I don't know. Probably wasn't planned. Yeah. It's just like a thing that happened, but they kept it in.
Maybe a blooper they left in.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's got his firearm trained on him at all times. Doesn't take his eyes off him, and it's clear that he's learning a little bit about surviving.
Yeah. Amber tells the dog guy to chain up the dog so they can go through without the dog being a problem. And they
don't seem to ask if he's got a gun, but I guess that just might be for time.
Yeah. And then they see their friends on the floor, pretty dead, unfortunately.
Yeah, and if you were confused at all about what Patrick Stewart's plan was, this is the scene that kind of makes all that make sense. Why he was intrigued by the fact that they have siphon equipment on them, and why he wanted specifically for them to not be riddled with bullets. There's everything kind of comes together right here.
Yeah. And then Pat sees it. The cloth is to make it seal. I wouldn't do it like that. And just rips it out.
He criticizes their siphon staging.
Yeah. And I was like, they got my gun. It's like, oh, shut up. And oh no, wait. Clark turns around and Amber says, "Shut up," and just shoots him on the spot. Because he turned
and
around
then even
quickly.
Pat seems almost kind of surprised. He's like, we're doing this? And
okay.
He's like, isn't that why we're here? It's like, well, it looks like they're staging a crime scene. And she's like, let's make one of our own.
Let's make one of our own, yeah.
Badass Amber at it again.
All intercut by the pit bull making his way to somewhere, as I said, already trying to set up a thing.
Yeah, which again, it's like that little bit of extra tension to be like,
Mm.
well, they seem like they have the villains dead to rights, but there is still that pit bull.
Oh man. But yeah, Pat's looking at his dead friend, just says, "This is a nightmare. This just sucks." And Patrick Stewart just says, "For us all." It was just
Yeah. And he's kind of not kidding. Like, he's
yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah.
well, as much as this, yeah, obviously sucked for you, it has sucked for us as much for different reasons. And some of the same reasons, actually, because at this point, they've lost a lot of their men.
Oh yeah. And Pat asks him if he has a phone, and he just shakes his head. And he just says, "It's funny. You were so scary at night."
Yeah.
And then Patrick Stewart just turns around. The other guy gets shot immediately, and he gets out the gun, tries to shoot one of them, but misses because he gets shot in the head right after being shot like 3 times before.
He
And
takes quite a few
yeah,
rounds, does Patrick Stewart. He's
Yeah.
semi-bulletproof.
And he yeah, even squeezes off that last shot after the shot to the head.
After
So
being
that
shot in the
was
head. I
yeah.
was wondering
well,
how accurate that, like, not how accurate the shot was, obviously, because that's not going to happen. But like, can you actually? Is that like a reflex
not
movement, or is
yeah, I
it?
was about to say he wouldn't be able to consciously do it, but yeah, if with that kind of trauma to your brain, your muscles seizing up and your hand gripping would be like that would make some sense.
Okay.
Like it's absolutely a thing that can happen.
All right.
Especially because like depending on where he's shot in the brain, it might have it might have flat out like sent an electrical signal to the thing that controls his hand. By that logic, though, he just as easily could have dropped it because of that. But
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I thought
it
they
also like
wanted that little extra spice on there at the end. See, oh, someone's gonna die as well here.
well, I mean, again, yeah, it's that extra little moment of tension, but also because it's a wild shot that hits absolutely nothing, you're not then thinking like, oh, come on, how would he have like landed that shot?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like no, it's very wide. He doesn't even come close to hitting the target. It's like he was already dead.
Yeah. In the meantime, Gabe makes it to the orchard. Just says, "Yeah, we need the police." We get a shot at Tad's house, as you said, with the drugs, where they don't look like they're
Oh no,
having a good
not
time.
Tad is the he's the podcaster guy. But
Yeah.
I think we do get a shot at that he's vacuuming
Yeah, yeah.
and actually even on the radio there the podcast is playing. So like
Podcast
I
is
guess it
running,
was
yeah.
airing that morning. But yeah, we see Worm is he's still alive. So I guess what we're assuming is that because Gabe goes to the police, Worm would end up going to jail for Emily's murder.
Hmm.
But Worm's buddy apparently has not agreed with the N-word dope that
Nope.
the Bad Batch has killed one of them, at least it seems, because he's got like the needle still in his arm and he's totally out of it. But yeah, and Worm doesn't seem to be doing much about it though either. It's just, he's got like his dead friend right there, and just
Yeah.
he's fine with it.
And then we go back to our 2 survivors. The pit bull arrives and they have their guns on it immediately, and but they're out of bullets as well. But the
Yeah,
dog is
they both
not
fire.
interested. The dog has no care in the world. He just goes to his
Yeah.
owner who's dead and puts his little head on his.
Yeah, it's like an adorable way to end the Houndmaster's arc, kind of that it's like,
Yeah.
oh, the Pitbull has no interest in fighting. He just wants to be with his master. So snuggles up to him the way JoJo snuggles up to me at night and just puts its head on his arm and rests. So I was like, oh, I actually feel sorry for the Nazi dog.
Yeah, poor Naughty Dog's been through a long day. He's had
Yeah.
a pretty tough time of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our last shot on the 2 where Pat says, "I think I figured out my Desert Island song."
Desert Island Band.
And Amber just says, "Just tell someone who gives a shit." And then we cut to black.
That's the end of the movie. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like a sort of more energetic than you would expect, like kind of like punk rock song that ends it too. That it's like they kind of ended with a bit of levity, I would say. With
No.
the payoff for Pat's Desert Island Band never comes because the girl that is like effectively his like co-protagonist for the last half of the movie is still like a cynical punk girl who doesn't really give a shit about much. And,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's that.
That's the
And,
end of the movie. Yeah.
It's the
What do you
end
think?
of Anton Yelchin's
Pretty-
performances too, sadly.
Pretty neat, huh? Pretty neat
Yeah,
movie.
it's a good, solid little film.
Yeah, I like this movie quite a bit.
Wait, whose last appearance was that?
Anton Yelchin, Pat, his
Oh.
That was his last one.
Yeah, he got killed in a I think an accident where his car was in like neutral or something like that, and he was doing some work on it and ended up like crushing him to the wall of his garage. It's a pretty
Damn.
brutal way to go. But yeah, and actually him and Imogen Poots have been in 2 movies together because she was also the female protagonist in Fright Night, the Colin Farrell remake.
Mm.
Anton Yelchin being like the protagonist in that. So it's like, I like seeing this movie with them together where they're like, kind of sort of badass, but in like a horrific situation, and then kind of knowing that's like, oh, these 2 people that work together a lot had nice little thriller where they're the only 2 who make it out alive, and then one of them doesn't make it out of real life alive. I mean, no, yeah, you know what I mean. It was awkwardly said.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty nice movie. Very easy watch. Would recommend. It's quite nice. Nice and grounded. The stakes are clear. The tension is feasible. They go for the biggest threat all the time. It's like, yep, there's a gun. I need that. There's a box cutter. He's grabbing that. Get this out of his hand. Just things that I would consider basic, but we don't see basic enough these days. That I'm just like, yeah, I like nice and basic stuff that it makes sense and don't make me want to jump off a bridge because of all the logic gaps. So yeah, really nice. Really.
Yeah, basic is now pretty exceptional.
Yeah,
A film stands out if it
unfortunately so, yeah.
just by going through and doing everything right. And even the what you can do when you're writing, if you find yourself in the scripting process, as I think they did with this one, saying, well, like going through problems, why would character do X in this situation? Actually, you can make your story out of that. These characters doing problem solving in your script is a good way of making sure that you don't let stupidity get through and start directing your plot.
Precisely.
And again, this is I guess a new-ish movie. It's a decade old now, but yeah, it's they very often when we're sort of praising just like simple writing, we're talking about movies from like the 80s or like early 2000s and stuff. And yeah, this was a more relatively recent one, so, and a low budget one, and A24, so it's like the pretentious art house film studio is the one who did this, and yeah, sometimes there are good movies that come from that camp.
Absolutely. Well. But yeah, recommendation from me. Go check it out. Pretty good stuff.
I as well. Give it a watch.
Let's quickly go through the super chats before we're out of here. We get a couple right here. So these names are all different. So there's probably people in here that I would normally recognize, but there is all. I don't know. I think they just added the ads to YouTube. It's really weird. So we got €2 by Breast Milk Junkie, which that's pretty fun. But that's
well,
it just says missed. My name sucks now, which basically damn in German. Thanks for the super chat. But yeah, I don't know why YouTube did this. This is really annoying, actually. I did notice
they're changing people's names.
No, there's like different things. You have like the channel name and then the name in your ad. So if I comment under a video, it doesn't say Metalcommander. It says @Metals Forge, probably in an attempt to make someone click on it to the thing. You know,
Doesn't seem like it's not universal, because I've just like dipped over to the premiere chat on my channel. It's not there in the chat on my channel. It's still the normal names.
I want to see what I am. I'm still at Marc this time, though that is my @ so I guess I'm not the best example. Maybe it's to combat people like changing their channel names to like to like mess with people.
Well, the weird thing is that there's a couple of people in chat I saw that just have like ads and then just random assortment of letters because they didn't set an ad.
Maybe it's in settings. You might be able to. Hopefully, you can turn it off and on. In which case, everyone can just turn it off.
Yeah. So yeah, it's quite annoying because yeah. Well, we'll see. Maybe there's a way to do it. So, but yeah, thanks for the super chat. We got 35 Zar by Sarah Hulkenborg. I don't know why I said it.
Oh, that's Hulkenberg is a character from Metaphor.
No.
Metro Fantasio. The game that's now been overshadowed by Expedition 33, but it was a fantastic Japanese role-playing game that I strongly recommend.
Says it's about
And
time
Hulkenberg
Picard
is quite
said
a good
something
character.
about the Grunt Negus.
Oh God.
Oh no. Wait, I'm quiet? If I've been quiet the whole time and you only now tell me when I'm done, I'm gonna get a little upset. But no one has been complaining so far, so I hope that was not the whole time. And then another 14 Czar saying, also I hate my new name. And then we got 100 Swedish shekels by Zodlander saying, hi Metal, hello. I've been looking for a while. Well, that's nice to hear. Hope you've been enjoying
You
it.
found him.
Do you think the MCU can be saved without a reboot? Oh god, so here's the thing. You could just start making exceptional movies over and over and over again. You'll always have the stench of these last phases on them. I think it's rather impossible now to actually fix it completely. I don't think it's possible. With all those different rules and powers they've set up, like they're just going to interfere with each other. It's just I just don't see it happen without a reboot.
You'd have to wipe out a substantial amount of it in Doomsday, and Secret Wars is the next one, isn't it? Like you'd need to use those movies to do a reset.
Yeah.
I don't, and basically a total reset as well. And I'm not sure they will.
Yeah,
Because we've set up incursions a while back, but those don't exist anymore. If you look at, Wolverine and Deadpool movie, because they're just in a different universe now, which should die. And then we also put these core beings in there, which is fucking ridiculous. And then it's just more and more and more, and it's just impossible to fix it. Unless they just say, oh, those rules was actually a lie or whatever.
Yeah, and I think one of the critical things that they have to deal with now is that even if, because I think a big problem that they're having is adhering to all of the rules that have been set up. And this is a thing that what was giving me a headache in our episodes, and an actual real physical headache, not a metaphorical one. I had to take Tylenol after the show, in both the Brave New World and Thunderbolts episode, where these movies make less sense as you try to reconcile them with the established rules and canon of the universe. Because it's like the writers have spent too much time not caring enough about the established rules before this whatever project it ends up being. That's like, well, at this point, then, what are the rules? Because I'm trying to think about it, and I don't know, and the writers don't seem to know, and they seem to be not thinking about it. So it's like, well, at this point, as much as people might like to say, oh, well, you don't want to reboot the MCU because that means all those great movies that happened before are just wiped out. It's like, yeah, but what's the option then at this point? I guess as Platoon was saying, you could do now these two movies have just effectively done a soft reboot where all those things still happen because they had us arrive at our new universe that is basically a reboot anyways. But it's like, well, maybe. But also, is that going to be enough? Because won't that even cause more problems than just a full-blown reboot where we're like, yeah, no, none of the MCU, doing basically what DC's doing with this new Superman film. And I guess we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like none of the Zack Snyder movies mean anything here at all. So don't worry about canonizing them or trying to make sense with any of the rules established beforehand. New set of characters, new set of rules. We're giving you a new Iron Man movie, a new Captain America movie, a new Spider-Man movie. All this stuff is brand new. Would that be functionally any more difficult for the audience than saying, oh, everything is still there and real, but a whole bunch of things have just been written out of existence? Because that I think would create the problem. It's like, well, but is the normie viewer going to have any idea of which things count and which things don't? And isn't that more difficult than just full-blown rebooting it? So I don't know, man. I think they're in a spot where the only way to have the MCU be good again and still do shared universe stuff is to fully reboot it. Now, that doesn't mean to say that they can't make a good movie that just kind of stands on its own as good. But I think that because of now what's happened in the last few movies or few phases at this point, it will be impossible for those movies to then make sense as critical pieces of this shared universe. So it's like, well, why why bother with the shared universe then? Like at this point, should you maybe just move to standalone superhero movies that don't
Mm.
address any other superheroes, like Blade? Like, I mean, the original Blade, not the Blade project that keeps on getting canceled.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. In conclusion, I don't think Marvel is in a very good spot at all. I think
No.
DC's got a chance, but I also don't love what I've been seeing of this Superman movie. So, but that'll be in a couple weeks. So I guess stay tuned for whether or not that is going to give me a headache, or if it's going to be one where I was like, yeah, that was a good Superman movie.
The thing is, they fucked it so hard, you can't even say, oh, we're just gonna start writing one in a different universe. Because they already fucked things between universes with setting up the incursions and going back and forth and whatnot. So we actually have to, like, wipe it.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like at this point, all of the continuity is a burden, and
Yeah.
not because continuity and like not the way that like the video essayists who don't want to ever think about things say that like, oh yeah, continuity is overrated. You don't want continuity. You want just a good story that stands on its own. It's like, yeah, well, I mean that makes sense, but if you are putting it in a universe that is highly contingent on having lots of continuity, that's a burden, not a gift. Like you're hamstringing that movie by doing that. You're not making it better. And I think that is the primary problem the MCU has right now, and I believe will have for quite some time going forward.
Yeah. Also, which I'd finish up with, love you all. Well, thank you very much. Pray
Thank
for my
you.
mind as my cousin forces me to watch Fantastic Four and Superman. Viel Spaß, my dude. Dankeschön.
And again, like Superman, it's at least working off the blank slate. So I'm still going into that one good faith. I don't love the marketing, but James Gunn has made some good things that I've liked. So I'm willing to give that one a chance without just assuming it's going to be shitty. But you know,
We'll see.
I'm not going in assuming it's going to be awesome. I'll say that much. Fantastic Four, I'm almost 100% certain is going to give me a headache though. But hey, you know, if it doesn't, I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Got $2 by Xavier Hart. Man, these ad names are so scuffed sometimes. To none.
And like, what kills me is now we can't even just say, hey, just add what you want to be referred to into the super chat, because that might push them over. Like we're making them burn characters at that point, and that seems grifty.
Yeah, no, that's stupid. I hope you can like switch it out. But it says good day, hello. What's the slur? Cheers and thank you. It was a double N-word bomb. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he says the N-word twice.
We got €6 by Max Relax saying, what you need is a Swiss Army multi-tool device made by a Victorinox. Can't say the K word. Wait, you can't put knife in a super chat? Are you serious?
Oh, well, I mean, you even went as far as the brand name.
Yeah. But yeah, always useful to have. I just have a normal pocket knife here on my table in case I need to stab some flies or something. I don't know. And then we got 50 shekels, I think that is, by Rack548. Thank you very much. Saying, when will you guys cover K-pop Demon Hunters? Funny enough, on Open Bar, 2 people say that it's actually surprisingly decent or good. So.
Is that an anime or?
I think it's like one of those Netflix animated thingies.
Oh, is it Korean or is it another like American one?
I think it's a Western one. I could be wrong. I would need to double check. I mean, I'm not entirely interested to actually watch it, but I've heard it's not awful. So.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll give it a shot.
Let me see.
So I do have another 40 episodes of Hunter x Hunter to watch.
Oh wait, it's not a show. That's a movie. I thought it was a movie. I thought it was a show. God, my brain is melting. I think it's already coming out of my ears.
As a movie means I can probably squeeze it into the schedule if it's been recommended.
But Netflix was correct. It is on Netflix.
Well, I do have Netflix, so that makes it even easier.
Let me see. Where's who made that?
Even though they're
produced by Sony Pictures Animation. Okay.
Well, I mean, at this point, Sony owns like all of anime. They bought the one where people thought that they were buying From Software because the primarily anime and manga company that owns like a whole bunch of different anime distribution platforms, also has like a pretty big stake in Bandai Namco, I believe. So, or maybe it's From Software themselves, but anyways, it's yeah, it was Sony does though. They own Funimation, I believe, and then they bought Crunchyroll, or the other way around, which makes it so that yeah, there's not a whole lot of people other than Sony who have anything to do with anime distribution at this point.
Well. That was the last one. Thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
as
thank
always.
you, everybody.
Before we get out of here, Mr. Platoon, thanks for joining us today. It was fun times.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
You're about to premiere a thing when we're done here, correct? Tell the people
It
about
has
it.
just started,
Oh my
actually.
God.
Perfect timing.
Holy
Yeah,
shit, we're
it's
so good at this.
the first of, I don't know, maybe more than one Ironheart video. It depends how funny I find the rest of the show.
Nice.
Metal, have you figured out how to do raids? Or Platoon, are you raidable?
I have no idea. Maybe? I don't know. I've never
Wait,
looked into it.
Hang on. I think it was like
I believe it's the thing you do have to activate.
customization. The only reason I never do it is because it's so annoying to do. Because you can't just say we're doing it now. You have to go into a thing somewhere.
You do. It's in the edit thing in the YouTube studio, but you don't have to do it like as it happens. Like if the thing is either listed or actively running, you can set it like at any time in the show, and then just once you go offline, it just filters people over there. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Just if we could filter people over to Platoons, it might be a nice way to say thank you. But if not, everybody head
That
over
would be.
there
It's the
anyway.
thought that counts, but thank you anyway.
I mean, you could just throw the. Wait, I can just get the fucking link myself. I have the
Also
technology.
an option. The beauty of a raid, though, is if anyone's moved away from their computer, then they get sent over as well.
And then they wonder what the fuck's happened.
Yeah. Well, they just think, wow, like Marc and Metal have been pretty quiet. We've been hearing Platoon for quite a while now, and why are they talking about Ironheart?
But yeah, there's the link to it. You can go there as soon as we're done here. There you go.
Hooray.
Also, obviously, the channel link is down below. But yeah, go
hooray.
check the stuff out. There's plenty of content to watch, and it's all rather good.
Thank you.
Marc, what about you? You got anything coming up? You still Onimusha-ing or something?
Yeah, well, as I said, I finished Onimusha Dawn of Dreams, which I found to be kind of a slog to get through because it is structurally a much different Onimusha game than the other three, which I mean, I guess in its defense, that it makes sense that they gave it a subtitle and didn't just call it Onimusha 4, even though from a story standpoint, it pays off on the post-credit scene of Onimusha 3, so sort of Onimusha 4, but it's also very different and much longer. Like this game took me a very long time to finish because it's very grindy. You don't do a lot of damage to the enemies until everything's upgraded, and even then it's pretty tanky enemies. But I did finish it, at least one playthrough, and I've heard subsequent ones get more enjoyable because I don't think the damage difficulty scales as you do New Game Plus, but you get to keep all your stuff and just essentially keep getting stronger and stronger. But as I move through the Onimusha games for subsequent playthroughs, I will hopefully get to the end of the script relatively soon. But depending on how long it takes me, I've still not yet decided whether I'm going to try to get the video out sometime this year or just hold off until the new one, Way of the Sword, comes out and then make it a full series video as opposed to all the series before they put it away for like 2 generations. But I guess if you're looking to see what kind of video that'll be, I do have a video about the 3 adaptations of Berserk on my channel that the algorithm hates. So if you've seen it and you want to watch it again, that'd help me out. Or if you haven't seen it at all, check it out because it's, I think, pretty good still, even though, yeah, it's poorly performing. But yeah, I'm in it for the love of the game.
Very good. Obviously, as always, everything down below. As for me, I don't even know if I'm gonna do the next 3 episodes of Ironheart like as a rant. I don't know. It depends how I feel like it or don't. On that, just working away on the video, which will be done when it's done, and then I'll tell you what it is, and then you can watch it.
Hooray.
Because that's how that works. Wednesday, we're doing some more Left 4 Dead with Kretosis and the peeps, so that should be fun. And I guess next week we'll do some Pate games on the Sunday, so that should also be fun. And that's
Cool.
basically it. Just chipping away. Yeah, that's that.
Oh, I guess I had one
Yes.
more point though. I noticed in the recent EFAP highlights on, I think it was the 28 years, or no, wait, was it? I think it was because Brooks was on it. And I believe he was on that episode. They're talking about, definitely 28 years later. They're talking about like people being birthed from dead things, and Brooks gave me a little Berserk related shout out and saying that I'd be able to explain the reason why Guts being born out of the corpse of a dead woman was much better writing than the way they handle it in 28 years later. And yeah, it's because he, I guess, was born when she was killed. She wasn't like actually necessarily dead when he was born, but they hung his mother and gutted her because there's a bunch of corpses hanging from trees who, sort of like in the Last of Us show, have been like disemboweled. And one of the mercenary band that comes across them find a baby who is alive just in a pile of guts, which is why his name is Guts. That's what they decided to call him, the baby that they found in just a big pile of guts.
Guts Solo.
Yes, and thank you, Brooks, for giving me a little shout out on EFAP.
Let's go.
That gave me a reason to talk about Berserk more, because I clearly like doing that.
Good. And with that
is
we are out of here and try to stop melting, possibly, if that's possible at the moment. Thank you very much for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the super chats.
Yeah.
Always appreciate it. And now you can go watch Platoon's video, as you should. And
Hooray.
goodbye.
Bye, everybody.